As dusk fell, the schoolyard buzzed with laughter as students poured out like a festive tide. Yunshen leaned silently by the window, his cold eyes tracing the fading crowd. A burst of chatter made him glance back. Some students brag arrogantly about being summoners. The loudmouth invited the group to join him, promising to lead them to glory in the upcoming exam, but a sharp-eyed girl smirked and mocked whether he was worthy to teach a true mage like her. Stunned, the guy roared a challenge right there, and the girl accepted without flinching. Watching them, Yunshen sighed. 3 years in another world had taught him how cruel this game was. 70 years ago, reality and games merged. People suddenly gained classes and levels like in Rapis. The higher the level, the stronger the skills and the deadlier the power beyond human limits. But that fusion also unleashed monsters, plunging humanity into chaos and peril. Yunshen looked at his hands and smiled faintly, craving to conquer this world of strength and wit. Just then, the classroom door burst open. The homeroom teacher yelled for everyone to go home. His gaze stopped at Yunshen, worry creeping in as he asked why the boy hadn't chosen a class yet. Yunshen only shrugged, making the teacher more anxious as he lectured on the gap between jobless and classed people. Finally, the teacher softened his tone, urging Yunshen to choose soon for a better shot at success. Yunshen smiled and replied calmly, though his heart burned with ambition to be number one. He believed that even unclassed, he had power thanks to a special system within him. The system kept assigning brutal tasks: run 100 kilometers, do 100 sit-ups, grinding his willpower daily. Each time he finished, exhaustion hit hard, but his eyes still blazed with unyielding faith. Checking his system panel, he nodded in satisfaction. Daily tasks earned him free points and skills others had to grind for. Normally, the jobless had weak skills and slow growth, but Yunshen broke all those limits. His system let him master every class skills, becoming an all-class prodigy, and only he could see it. Viewing his stats, he recognized the rewards, yet knew the greatest prize awaited the top rank. His resolve hardened. At dawn, the plaza gleamed as a giant gate appeared, marking the start of the national class exam. The teacher sternly repeated the rules: 3 gates, 3 difficulty levels, 3 paths of choice. He added that once the gate opened, the dungeon run began. Higher difficulty meant higher reward and danger. He warned again: fewer teammates meant more points, but higher death risk lose, and it's game over for real. When the 3 gates flared bright, the teacher shouted begin. The air tensed as everyone held their breath. Instantly, all students vanished in the Caroline City dungeon, swarming with savage level 1015 monsters. Outside, giant screens streamed the battle live. The crowd roared as most chose safe zones. Only elites dared solo runs. Then a student shouted someone non-light had gone solo, stunning everyone in disbelief. Another squinted, puzzled by the fighter's bizarre mix of weapons from every class. Suddenly, someone recognized him, the jobless drifter, and laughter erupted at his apparent madness. Mockery spread. They dismissed Yunshen as a useless dreamer chasing borrowed power. Meanwhile, the homeroom teacher froze, despair twisting his face as disaster loomed. He clutched his head, blaming himself. Yunshen had chosen the nightmare dungeon, a suicidal move. Beside him, EC Academy's dean demanded an explanation, his icy tone silencing the room. Qi Zanqing stammered, claiming Yunshen's talent suited the drifter class, hoping it'd be fine. Inside the dungeon, Yunshen stood by dying embers, cold mist crawling across the ground. He inhaled deeply, voice calm in the dark: let's begin, and stepped into the trial of life and death. Outside, spectators gawked at his weapon set: guns, scepters, gauntlets, doubting he could wield them all. A masked man tapped a neighbor, trembling as he pointed. No way, his in the nightmare zone. Before anyone blinked, Yunshen dashed like lightning, his figure blurring in the gloom. He triggered a swordsman's speed buff, readying for battle as shadows emerged ahead. The Carolines spotted prey, bodies twitching with hunger, eyes glazing with bloodlust. Suddenly they shrieked madly, a deafening wardroom roar heralding the bloodstorm. The horde charged, the ground shaking. Yunshen raised his staff, eyes icy, chanting his first spell. Blazing fireball streaked forth, exploding in the monster pack with thunderous fury. In an instant, dozens of Carolines burned to ash, red flames coiling wildly in the smoky air. The masked man gaped, stammering, that fireball spells faster than a pro mage's cast. Another pointed at the screen, trembling, wait, that staff's morphing, it's not ordinary. Sure enough, Yunshen twisted the handle, revealing a gleaming blade, a staff-sword hybrid boosting both mind and might. He moved again, unleashing Winterrent slash, his sword slicing a Caroline with a scream. Spinning, he slashed clean through another's neck. Blood sprayed as the corpse collapsed. With a second strike, he bisected another beast, mist thickening from mingled blood and smoke. The rest roared and charged, pounding feet shaking the air as the audience held its breath. Yet Yunshen stayed calm, spinning amid the monsters, each flashing strike a deadly dance. Moments later, all Carolines lay dead. The stands erupted, stunned by power beyond any spellblade's norm. The masked man trembled, his soloing a full mixed party mage and swordsman both, while girls screamed over his icy charm. Amid the chaos, someone muttered in awe that despite all that heavy gear, he moved like the wind, utterly absurd. The masked man frowned, wondering how his magic stayed that strong if his stats leaned toward strength, or his speed toward intellect. On the platform, the dean folded his arms, coldly questioning what kind of monster could break every rule like this. Qi Zanqing scratched his head, mumbling that Yunshen's gift was omnipotent, able to surpass skill caps seen only once a century. The homeroom teacher explained that those with magical talent became mages, while the strong and swift chose swordmasters or warriors. Others awakened mundane talents like cooking or forging, leading them down unique profession paths. The dean sighed, noting that omnipotent maxed skills only to rank C impressive early, but weak long-term. A man in a suit added that Yunshen's combat and reflexes were top tier, yet his ceiling too low for investment. Qi Zanqing exhaled, nodding had once urged Yunshen to class change, fearing he'd fall behind later. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, Yunshen walked through a trail of blood. His sword dripping. No Caroline remained alive. He stopped before a massive iron gate. It creaked open with a chilling metallic groan. Inside waited a packed army of Carolines, of every type, arrayed like they'd been lying in ambush. Their eyes blazed with hunger, ready to rip him apart if he hesitated a heartbeat. Ahead stood a mixed formation level 12 red goblins hurling fireballs, a level 14 goblin chief, and mounted knights of brutal might. Yunshen murmured appraisal, grinning upon spotting water goblins and warriors, a perfect offensive-defense team. The goblin chief shrieked an order, spear raised, its screech echoing across the hall. Instantly, the riders charged, lances slicing the air with bone-chilling whistles. Meanwhile, the other goblins pounded their drums, the rhythm pounding like a cursed war chant. Behind them, red and blue goblins cast spells, fireballs and icicles flashing with vicious glee. Yunshen whispered as he calculated, knowing their coordination could turn the fight into a real nightmare. Raising his staff, he cast the cleric skill Holy Illumination, flooding the corridor with blinding white light. The radiance disoriented the foes, their formation shattered. Vision lost, panic spreading. The cavalry stumbled in fear, trampling each other as their mounts screamed and chaos reigned. The red goblin halted its chant, voice trembling as if sensing doom approaching. At that instant, Yunshen triggered assassin stealth, blinking behind it, dagger at its throat, voice icy. He drove the blade and blood sprayed. The goblin fell silently without a chance to resist. The goblin chief went berserk, roaring for its army to crush the intruder. Thunderous footsteps followed, hundreds charged, weapons gleaming through the smoky haze. But Yunshen was ready. He cast clone technique, summoning two copies, each wielding over half his strength. The three struck together, stab, slash, pierce steel flashing faster than sight as goblins dropped in mass. Seeing his kin slaughtered, the chief shook with fury. Eyes blazing like twin fires, it roared and swung its massive mace. But Yunshen leapt aside, smirking, not yet your turn. He raised his staff, casting summoner skill water elemental call. The ground quaked as mist shaped into giants. Just then, a blue goblin lunged with a wicked grin. Yunshen tilted aside, eyes narrowing in alert. Outside, the stands erupted when the broadcast cut away. No one cares about that swordsman. Switch back to Yunshen. Furious fans hurled bottles at the screen, shouting louder than the commentators. In the control room, a technician stammered, has been on screen too long, we had to change the feed. A man in glasses smacked his head, growling, you fool, viewer engagement, ever heard of it? Switch back now, I'm watching too. In the crowd, the masked analyst cheered, saying Yunshen wielded spells, blades, and hidden weapons in seamless harmony, a rare anomaly indeed. An assassin instructor stood, awed his precision and speed outclass even many advanced assassins, drawing respectful bows from the audience. On screen, Yunshen reappeared, cheers exploded as he summoned three water elementals to strike, then vanished again. The masked man pointed at a shadowed corner, shouting, look, his soloing the boss during its buff phase no less. Inside the dungeon, Yunshen faced the goblin chief, eyes cold, sword tightening in his grip. The real boss fight had begun. This was a nightmare-level boss. One mistake meant instant death. He couldn't afford a single flaw. Swiftly, he used engineer skill trap mechanism, setting snares to lock the target for 2 precious seconds. As soon as the boss was caught, he chanted scarlet fireball flared and slammed into its giant face. The explosion scorched half its head. The monster, howling as one eye burst in flames, enraged, it lunged but froze mid-swing, confusion twisting its burned visage. Beneath it, a beeping sounded. Time bombs trigger, then boom. The blast tore the air apart, smoke swallowing the screen. The remaining goblins froze, staring as their leader was flung into the flames. From the smoke, Yunshen emerged calm and cold, not a trace of pity on his face. As the haze cleared, he spoke evenly with a hint of mockery, faking weakness. You'll need more than that to kill me. The boss staggered out, body charred, smoke curling off its skin. Its eyes glowed blooded with fury as it roared, shaking the entire dungeon. Before it could counter, Yunshen unleashed mage skill Frost Doom, sending icy spears that froze and slowed the boss. The impact drove the beast to its knees, trembling as its strength drained away. Without pause, he chained engineer gas blaster strikes with lightning, water spells, and summoned crystal spirits, all attacking at once. A storm of magic rained down, explosions stacked upon explosions as the boss howled, torn apart in blinding light. Outside, the audience gasped. He just crushed a Whitecrest boss before it even fought back. Another sighed, from ruler to punching bag, what a humiliating end. The blonde girl nodded, analyzing. Once Yunshen blinded it with fire and trapped it, the fight was already decided. She smiled, praising his flawless elemental synergy. Indeed, the ice lightning combo paralyzed it, and the vines from support skills bound it tight, leaving zero resistance. The blue-haired girl added, his foot traps sealed its movement right before it could cast War Stomp that was the winning blow. A man smoking chuckled. That kid's a monster, so many skills yet perfectly controlled. He teased Q Zanching. Your student's top 5 in the province easy, the blue-haired girl chimed. Maybe even break the school record. Kai just smiled proudly. The dean laughed heartily, clapping his colleague's shoulder. Ha! Keep praising him, hell hit top 3. We've been stuck at rank 9 too long, that kid will bring our glory back. He nodded with a soft smile. I know has never once let me down. In the crowd, a man in gray shouted, Jobless drifters rule this version. A girl with a headband sparkled. So cool. I'm quitting mage to train like Senior Yun. The brown-haired boy beside her tapped her head, scolding. Dream on, you can't even cast basics. Multiclassing isn't a game. One mistake means death. She lowered her head, murmuring, I know he's someone to learn from. Not to copy. In the dungeon, Yunshen stepped over goblin corpses, muttering, small fry cleared time for the next round. Outside, the gray-shirted man gawked. What? Skipping rest and diving straight into another boss. Crazy. The headband girl frowned. Why not recover energy first? Even the dean frowned, shaking his head. Too rash, no one else even dares move yet, and is already charging ahead. Isn't he afraid of burning out? He turned to Kai, half reproachful, half worried. What kind of training is that? No stamina recovery means suicide? Kai replied awkwardly. Maybe he wants to shorten time, but yes, it's risky. The brown-clad man warned grimly. His pushing himself to death, such reckless genius is a waste. The headband girl retorted. No way! He hasn't even used his shield, gauntlets, or talismans yet is hiding his trump card. The man scoffed. No one can master every class. The next round's full of high-level mobs, one slip without mana recovery and has done for. Inside, Yunshen focuses cut. Green energy swirling in his hands, murmuring. No more grunts now, the real hider mages and shamans begin. He pressed 2 fingers to his forehead, eyes sharpening as his mind expanded across the battlefield. He reminded himself quietly the summons were about to expire. Every second must count. As he entered the next zone, goblin mages and shamans roared in unison. Eyes blazing red at the sight of Pri, they chanted, unleashing waves of red, blue, and yellow energy that rippled like a magical storm. Yunshen commanded firmly, upshield me. His 3 water elementals formed a transparent barrier, absorbing the first barrage. Explosions thundered, smoke surged, and the corridor blazed with chaotic light. When it cleared, Yunshen strode out 2 mechanical cannons glowing on his shoulders. His voice was low and steady. Now let the firepower speak. His brows tightened, eyes burning with unshakable resolve. The dean observed thoughtfully. Marksmen have the most core skills, reload speed, reflexes, and criticals are unmatched. Qi Zanching nodded, but their toughest passive is relentless pursuit. Miss once, and damage drops instantly. It demands absolute precision. The brown-clad man added, for a drifter, juggling both throwing spears and traps mid-fight is brutal. His seamless combo output is pure mastery. In the dungeon, Yunshen stood tall amid goblin corpses, cold eyes sweeping the field, ready for the next counterattack. The stands erupted, every shot deadened. As a death sniper, each bullet a verdict. The crowd screamed in wild admiration. A girl clutched her chest and yelled, I declare Senior Yunshen my future husband. Let me die by his bullets. The headband girl beamed. Has not just a mage, has a gaudier marksman. The brown-clad man wiped sweat, chuckling awkwardly. I was wrong, this kid's a once-in-a-century genius, stronger than all past toppers combined. The dean laughed proudly. Ha! Told you is not reckless. His calculated brilliance. Kai just smiled wryly, thinking, you never said that earlier. A man in black frowned. Strange, he hasn't used a single potion, nope, or mana recovery at all. The blue-haired girl nodded. True. Others are chugging potions nonstop, but he hasn't touched one. Weird, Kai explained slowly, voice low. He didn't forget he simply has no room. His tiny pack's packed with weapons, traps, ammo, bombs, no space for potions. The dean glanced over, half admiring, half warning. Hard to say if that's bravery or madness. One mistake, and it's all over. Suddenly, Yunshen drew his gun and fired, the bullet slicing through the air. The hall erupted in cheers, eyes glued to the screen, waiting for his next move. He muttered hoarsely to himself, lamenting that the gun had overheated and broken its mission complete. Then, without hesitation, he tossed both guns aside, showing zero attachment. The dean's eyes widened in shock. He realized the weapons were completely ruined. Qi Zanching murmured awkwardly that they were cheap, low-tier gear. The dean exploded in anger, scolding him for letting a student bring junk weapons to the exam, forcing Qi to confess Yunshen's poverty. Hearing that, the dean fell silent, eyes misty, sighing regretfully that it was too late to help him now. Meanwhile, Yunshen calmly approached the 3rd gate and pushed it open without hesitation. The blue-haired girl screamed in excitement. The final match had begun while Kai nervously prayed for his student to win top rank. The dean's eyes shone as he declared that if Yunshen triumphed, their school would finally earn a historic first-place title. But his tone hardened. If Yunshen lost due to poor gear, Kai would be dismissed immediately. Kai trembled, bowing his head, silently praying for Yunshen's victory. The crowd watched tensely, believing he was about to make history as unused spear still gleamed on his back. Just as the tension peaked, the broadcast glitched, enraging the audience, who shouted curses at the production crew. In the control room, a black-clad woman pointed at the screen in panic, noticing something wrong. When the feed cleared, Silent's fellow student was dead, one from the Huation class who'd been laughing yesterday. The crowd murmured in shock. Many contestants had fallen at Gate 2 to the White Crest Chief, the floor stained with blood. Amid the chaos, a healing scroll flashed, pulling a few seniors safely out of the dungeon. Soon, more contestants stumbled out bloody, trembling, recounting the brutal slaughter and the sting of failure. The gray-shirted man on the stands froze, admitting he'd forgotten how deadly this year's exam was, while the headband girl whispered, trembling, that even stronger seniors had died. She choked out that she only wanted to survive, not pass, tears falling in fear of the Whitecrest Chief's power. Instantly, the dean barked an order, switched the broadcast to Yunshen to restore morale. Behind him, Kai smiled faintly, recalling how every year the school showed standout students to lift spirits. Choosing Yunshen this time meant the dean now saw him as surpassing every other candidate. The screen shifted, cheers erupted as everyone saw Yunshen facing the final boss. Upon entering the gate, he confronted a monster seated on an icy throne that warned coldly, "This place is not for mortals." It was the Goblin monarch, level 16, golden tier, draped in a crimson cloak symbolizing absolute power. Yunshen replied calmly, eyes sharp as steel, admiring its immense aura and rare intellect. Then he declared easily, "You have 20 seconds left to live," drawing his spear and triggering blood burst, a full power buff that drained him afterward. Seeing that, Kai cried out in panic, calling him reckless for not playing it safe with a slower, safer fight. The director roared in panic, demanding someone bring his blood pressure pills. With no time to waste, Yunshen charged straight at the boss. The boss widened its eyes, shocked by his absurd speed. It growled, admitting his speed but mocking human strength as feeble. As Yunshen closed in, the beast swung its blade, shattering the ground. Outside, the headband girl screamed, thinking he was dead, while the grey-cloaked man despaired at the nightmare tier boss. Just then, the director realized the one hit was only a clone. Indeed, while the demon lord attacked, Yunshen's real body stabbed it from behind using the assassin's skill Shadow Inherit. He spun the spear, slicing it from head to heel, the same move the boss once used. The monster jerked in terror, eyes wide. Before it could react, Yunshen speared through one eye, activating light projection to drive the blade deeper. The room burst into radiant blue light, flooding every corner. The boss screamed in agony, clutching its head in unbearable pain. Yunshen pressed the assault, muttering he had to end it before time ran out. Suddenly, an alert sounded. The demon lord entered berserk mode, black aura erupting in fury. Yunshen's spear cracked, then shattered into shards. He gritted his teeth, realizing the berserk pressure shortened control time, making things worse. A deafening explosion shook the entire dungeon, filling it with dust. In the smoke, the boss frowned, losing sight of its foe. Seizing the chance, Yunshen used Tailbind, launching energy chains around the beast. 13 seconds of blood rage left, but the boss smirked slyly, eyes glowing crimson. The arena erupted again. The grey cloak stammered in disbelief, and the headband girl feared Yunshen was out of options. The brown cloak countered, saying even with a broken spear, his power and speed still outmatched the boss. In the control room, the director analyzed both were in max boost mode, breaking the black iron spear under stress. He cursed Jane Xing for letting a contestant use trash gear. Xing sweated in regret, fearing lifelong guilt if Yunshen died. Meanwhile, the two combatants faced off, waiting for the killing move. The system warned 13 seconds left. Yunshen stood, determined to break the barrier in time. He drew his sword, activating the barrier sever technique. Sword light flared through the mist, but the monster slammed him into a wall. His breath ragged from the heavy hit. The headband girl cried out blood rage was ending. He hadn't broken the shield, and now he was badly hurt. The director clenched his teeth. If his gear were better, it'd be over now. The sword was broken. Magic failed. No potions left. Cornered completely. The boss raised its battle axe proudly and roared, "Human, your end has come." With 7 seconds left, Yunshen looked up and smirked. "Is that so?" He switched tactics, using Fairy Tail Vine Lash, but the boss chopped the vines apart with ease. The black-clad spectator gaped, saying Yunshen was panicking. Tail users focus on control, not offense. Others questioned why the berserk boss, who once tanked spears with its neck, now dodged weak vines. The director chuckled knowingly, whispering, "Has figured it out." Yunshen wiped the blood from his lips, murmuring, "Every monster has a weakness, it just needs to be found." Activating Cloud Eye, his gaze glowed blue. No examiner would design an unwinnable fight. The boss roared and charged, tired of his words. Yunshen stayed calm, pointing, "Your weak spot behind you." Under the cloak, then he unleashed the martial skill Flaming Fist, vowing to end it in the last 3 seconds. The boss broke the chains and sneered, but the fiery punch struck before it could move. 2 seconds left. The crowd erupted, cheering that this punch would crush the weak point and finish it. As the fire ring flared, the boss met the meteor-like punch head-on. It had only time to glare before the explosion consumed its massive form. Staggering, burned and bleeding, it still sneered the punch wasn't enough to kill. Yunshen replied coldly, "Really?" Just as blood rage ended, the boss froze, realizing a sword had been driven through its back, piercing the heart. It collapsed, eyes wide, dead on the spot. Yunshen's sword still buried deep. After the final strike, Yunshen fell back, breathing hard, utterly exhausted. Propping himself up, he stood as the system announced congratulations. Yunshen cleared nightmare level in 1447. Rewards pending. The arena exploded and cheers Senior Yun won. Only 20 seconds. Unreal power. Before fading, the Goblin Lord screamed curses that echoed through the dungeon. The system declared difficulty 3 as cleared Yunshen first to finish, earning 15,650 XP, 20 free points, and 20 skill points. Rewards showered down gold into your shoulder, belt, gloves, and the title Goblin Slayer. 25 damage to that race. Feeling power surge and 3 levels gained, Yunshen stayed humble though victory ensured his top scholar title. The system unlocked a new talent, letting him choose one of 3 high potential skills. After brief thought, he chose swift casting, the best match for his combat style. A dazzling light struck his forehead, forming a shining sigil. The message read acquired rank talent swift casting. He nodded, admiring his new golden gear far beyond old black urine junk. Its resonance effect restored stamina after every fight. He laughed, confident he could now slay the Goblin Lord in 5 seconds flat. A teleport light engulfed Yunshen, bringing him back to the central plaza. As he appeared, a giant question mark hovered above his head, stirring loud murmurs. From all sides came cheers. Invincible Yunshen. Heartthrob Yunshen. Amid the chaos, he mumbled, baffled by this weird new title. The principal approached with a glowing smile, praising him as cameras rolled behind. Teachers surrounded him, filming the historic moment from every angle. The principal patted his shoulder, told him to rest, and Yunshen smiled gratefully. Just then, a sleek supercar stopped before him, drawing every gaze. The crowd gasped again. It was the principal's car. "Send to drive Yunshen home," people shouted. "That's our Yunshen." Before leaving, the principal said his result was at least top 3 in the province, maybe even champion, and to tell his family. Yunshen simply nodded, watching the car fade. The principal grinned, thinking if Yunshen wins, East Literature Academy will go down in history. At that moment, a staffer ran an education bureau calling. The principal laughed. "Ha! Faster than I expected." At Yunshen's home, dusk settled, warm yellow light covering the old house. He pushed the door open, smiling warily yet warmly. Home. His little sister Yun Dang, busy cooking, cheered and bragged she even made meat tonight for his special day. Watching her hustle, Yunshen's chest tightened, lips trembling faintly. Their father died on the front lines 10 years ago, their mother of illness, leaving only the 2 siblings and a small stipend. For years, his sister took on everything so he could train, refusing his help no matter what. He thought this stubborn yet strong girl was his greatest motivation to fight harder for her happiness. During dinner, Yun Dang asked between bites, "How was the exam?" "Smooth." Yunshen smiled, saying there were hiccups but good results. The principal expected top 3 with rich rewards. Her eyes sparkled. "Really? Then we can eat meat every week." Yunshen laughed, patting her head. "Silly girl. From now on, meat every day." Seeing her beam, he clenched his fist, silently vowing to give her a lifetime of joy. Days later, during daily missions, he kept training nonstop, opening his system. He checked progress, plenty of skill points saved, ready for college exams. That evening, entering home, he called out, "I'm back." Yundang dashed over, hugging him tight, squealing, "You're the champion, top of the province." Leaving him stunned, she shoved his phone at him, scolding that had left at home now full of missed calls. Laughing, he checked it was true. Messages and calls flooded in. Then the phone rang again. He answered. "Hello, principal." The voice barked, "You nearly crashed my phone. Get to school now. The university scouts are waiting." Yunshen froze, half nervous, half thrilled. 3 years earlier, Yunshen recalled placing his hand on the talent stone during the exam. When the word omnitalent appeared, the room went silent, then burst into mocking laughter. They jeered that even boosted basic skills couldn't rival a single high-tier one. He was doomed to mediocrity. Teacher gently patted his shoulder. "Don't lose heart, Yunshen. Talent starts the path, effort decides it." That day, heavy rain fell as Yunshen walked, wondering if omnitalent was a dead end. Suddenly, a glowing screen appeared before him, a cold voice saying, "System activated. It'll make you the strongest." Stunned, he whispered, "A system? Like in stories? But with my weak talent, what can I do?" The emotionless voice asked for a class choice. He murmured, "Unemployed support." The system confirmed in 3 years passed since. Smiling now, he mused how an unemployed guy became provincial champion. Curious what the next reward would be, the screen displayed achievement top scorer of Jiangnan college exam. Title unrivaled champion. Rewarding now. Rapid notifications followed. Earned Strength Relic Cross of Rebirth. Strength Talent Super Regeneration. Plus 50 free and 50 skill points. Delighted, he found the rewards beyond imagination. The upgraded talent raised all skills by 1 tier. That meant rank skills could reach C, rivaling some tier class abilities. Cross of Rebirth revived after death. Super Regeneration boosted survival. And Divine Shift allowed instant teleportation. 3 divine treasures. Yunshen grinned, Thinking both skills absurdly practical, the system was spoiling him rotten. Just then, Yundang rushed in, saying the whole city was celebrating and the education bureau sent him a cash prize. Checking his phone, he chuckled. Many companies were already using his name for ads. Yundang eagerly asked if they should accept all offers. He sternly said only official ones. Shady money was dangerous. Putting on his coat, he said he was heading to school. The recruiters were likely waiting. At the school gate, reporters swarmed with cameras and mics, shouting for interviews with Yunshen's classmates. Every student asked just repeated, "Has so lucky, like a chant echoing through campus. In the principal's office, the man leaned back proudly, boasting that top universities were here to recruit Yunshen. Then, a teacher from King University sipped tea and sneered, saying it was unbelievable that a jobless student became champion. He slammed the cup down arrogantly, ordering Yunshen to pick a class or forget entering King University. Teacher Ji's face darkened, confronting Oho on why he'd reject the most sought-after student in the province. Oho smirked, dismissing, an unemployed support has no future, champion or not. King University doesn't need such trash. Right then, Nuan Zhou, Kai University's top student, chimed in, saying East Literature Academy was a low-tier school unworthy of notice. Oho added dryly, hinting Yunshen's top score was just luck, a fluke, not strength. Teacher Nu flared red, shouting they had no right to judge. Yunshen was a true champion without dirty tricks. But Oho only sneered, mocking him for getting worked up and advising restraint. A Scarface teacher crossed her arms coldly, demanding if Oho was belittling Jiangnan Academy. He grew even more arrogant, saying he'd love to see just how strong Jiangnan really was. Another teacher tried to calm things, but the scarred woman refused to back down, calling Kai University too arrogant. Oho smirked, taking it as a challenge. Their homeroom teacher snapped, asking if they'd come to recruit or to stir up trouble. Nuan Zhou smirked shamelessly, claiming they were here to recruit, but hinting Yunshen must have cheated. At that moment, the door burst open. Yunshen entered coldly, asking if the man intended to slander him. The principal hurriedly greeted him, introducing the recruiters, the air tense yet polite. Yunshen calmly said it heard everything from outside. He stepped up to Nuan Zhou, gaze sharp as ice, asking if he wanted proof of what tricks he supposedly used. Raising his head high, Yunshen declared he'd challenge as the provincial champion if he lost. Had apologized publicly. Nuan Zhou rose, then laughed arrogantly, mocking the rookie's audacity but accepting for sport. The homeroom teacher tried to stop Yunshen, warning the opponent was a top student. A year stronger, Nu Zhou crossed his arms smugly, saying it was an open challenge. No one forced him. Friends in the crowd worried the level gap was 6 tiers, his odds near zero. The group moved to the arena, where Ahua ordered Nuan Zhou to last 5 moves, even if it looked bad. Nuan Zhou smirked confidently, saying 3 moves were enough to crush him. The homeroom teacher glanced at the principal anxiously, praying Yunshen could perform a miracle. As the match began, Nuan Zhou raised his staff, mocking that Yunshen dared face a mage with a broken sword. Yunshen calmly replied that since his sword broke, he'd fight with magic alone. He lifted his head proudly, saying it was still enough to defeat him, enraging Nuan Zhou into chanting a counterspell. The mage quickly gathered energy, mumbling incantations, smug that Yunshen couldn't possibly cast faster. But before he finished, a massive fireball flared and slammed into him, leaving him shocked. Yunshen sneered, "So this is Kai University's mage standard?" The crowd erupted. The homeroom teacher was stunned. Yunshen had shattered defenses in under 2 seconds, defeating a level 19 mage outright. The outer instructors were speechless, whispering his casting speed surpassed professionals. The violet fireball proved to be tier spell. The principal beamed, confirming Yunshen's omnitalent had evolved, unlocking the ability to break past normal limits, leaving everyone in awe. Instantly, teachers from every academy crowded around, offering resources, rare weapons, and even arguing loudly to recruit him. Only Oho kept his cold face, scoffing that even an evolved talent couldn't change a hopeless future. Students burst into laughter, mocking Kai University for losing face. Their student downed while the teacher still bragged. Furious and humiliated, Oho threw off his coat and stormed out. The other schools kept pitching some promised gear, other scholarships. One joked about letting him pick a female instructor. Then a teacher from Jiang University stepped up, earnestly inviting Yunshen to join, offering access to all class skills. She added that their library included foreign arcane arts and promised a custom multiform weapon for unemployed support class. The crowd of lecturers gawked at Jiang University's outrageous offer. Yunshen's eyes lit up. He shook her hand, agreeing to join both for fit and for its closeness to home. After recruitment, he went alone to the back courtyard and activated Divine Shift to train. In a blink, he leapt lightly atop a rock by the lake, moving like the wind. From there, he flashed between points, testing speed and precision of control. Panting, he muttered that the divine skill was powerful but drained energy fast. Then his phone buzzed with a new message. Opening it, he saw a deposit of 5 million from the Education Bureau and 2 million from the Academy. He smiled. What a generous scholarship! He reactivated Divine Shift, body fading and reappearing around the training field in flickering bursts. Suddenly, a luxury car stopped before him. A well-dressed man stepped out, introducing himself from Jiangnan University. The man handed him a long case. Voice calm, "This is the promised multiform weapon." Yunshen raised a brow and opened it. Light flared, revealing a weapon blazing like living fire. Stunning him, the specs showed boosts to strength and intelligence, able to transform into gun, sword, or staff, each with elite combat stats. Smiling in satisfaction, he was glad to finally have 3 golden tier forms in one. No more lugging heavy gear. The teacher nodded, saying the weapon had long awaited a worthy master, and with his talent, it would go far. He explained softly that weapons had star tiers, upgrading required socketing gems, but failure would downgrade quality, so caution was vital. Then he opened the trunk, pulling out a stack of rare skill books, eyes gleaming with pride, saying they were for Yun Shen's study. Yun Shen's eyes widened in delight, hugging the books like treasure. The teacher added the library would be free and coursework reduced. Next, he handed him an envelope and a key, saying East Yun City gifted him a villa, but Yun Shen was too absorbed in the books to listen. Housing didn't matter. He eagerly flipped pages, shouting in joy at finding skills for wizard, duelist, and even rare spells words. While his sister sighed, the teacher smiled, recalling how 70 years ago, Divine Realm was born, drawing millions to non-human races. Then reality merged with the game, creating hybrid bloated humans, expanding Earth 10,000-fold, leaving East Yun one a few peaceful lands. Upon arriving in Jiangnan, Yun Shen felt the world finally vast and real. He spent the first month studying hard and mastering formation-breaking magic. 2 weeks later, he took Yun Dang sightseeing, exploring lands they'd only dreamed of. Filled with laughter, as enrollment day neared, Yun Dang hugged him tightly, tears streaming, saying she'd miss him dearly. Yun Shen gently patted her head, reminding her to call if needed, buy what she lacked, and take care of herself. Smiling and waving, he vowed to reach the national top 7 and begin a new chapter. At Jiangnan University's gate, a cheerful girl greeted him, handling freshman registration. Yun Shen handed over his file politely. Yes, here it is. The girl froze for a moment when she read his name and hometown, Dongyun City. Murmurs erupted. Everyone realized he was the unemployed champion who shocked the entire province. Smiling, she teased that his fame would make him the center of attention and mentioned an upcoming freshman tournament. She added seriously that many other prodigies aimed to reclaim the top rank, even those it beaten before. Just then, the system chimed a new quest: stay ranked 1 in the freshman competition, reward rank skill and lucky drink. Yun Shen smirked, eyes flashing good. Let's see who dares to try. The next morning, Jiangnan's gates buzzed with chatter, the welcome festival in full swing. Many pointed at him, gossiping about the unemployed support living in a villa. Their envy obvious. Some spoke loudly, mocking that had just gotten lucky or cheated, but he only smiled faintly, ignoring them. As rumors spread, Shen Taichin, the Dazo champion, stepped up, saying if they weren't convinced, fight instead of whining. Yi Qingling agreed. Yixu Huangfeng, Jiangnan's rank 2, clenched his teeth in rage, vowing to dethrone Yun Shen after the tournament. In the conference hall, War Academy Principal Yan Fu smiled calmly, saying freshmen were too obsessed with rankings, stirring chaos. A lecturer added that students felt Yun Shen was favored, but Yan Fu merely chuckled, confident in his judgment of the boy's talent. Suddenly, Weapon Academy Principal Huangxia Kuan-Cheng entered, voice cool but firm. She believed Yun Shen had exceptional combat intuition and wanted to recruit him. The room gasped. The Ice Queen herself had never praised anyone before, yet now called him a bright seedling. Yan Fu laughed, glancing out the window, saying if the faculty were this interested, they should advance the plan. He struck his staff on the floor. His figure vanished and reappeared in the plaza where freshmen gathered. Yun Shen immediately recognized him, the War Academy principal. Yan, just as written in the handbook. His voice boomed. He understood the students' discontent, so the competition would begin early today at 2 p.m. Live battle at Yunnan Square. All freshmen roared in excitement, confirming the time with fervor. Upon arrival, a female student gasped at the massive gate to the Silver Secret Realm. Everyone thrilled like before a grand exam. Su Huangfeng stepped up, taunting that Yun Shen was just a stepping stone on his path to glory. Yun Shen glanced around, noticing hundreds of eyes on him, thinking it was the perfect chance to gauge other geniuses' strength. Before the match, the referee reminded everyone of the free-for-all rules. Use any potions or skills you want. Just don't drink yourself unconscious. Then the dungeon gate flared open, teleporting light swallowing everyone whole. The freshmen charged into the secret realm. Each group warped to a different zone to begin battle. The system announced Dungeon Great Ogre's Den, Nightmare difficulty, level 12-15, with shadow beasts of terrifying power. Yun Shen appeared in a gloomy forest, gripping his morphing weapon, eyes blazing for war. He rushed forward. The big screen showed a half-cyborg freshman roaring as he slaughtered monsters, making Yanfu nod in impressed approval. Yanfu nodded again, remarking that this year's freshmen were far stronger and more balanced than any before. Another teacher chimed in, recalling a past-ranked kid around 200th place who oddly fought solo. In the secret realm, that very pastor crawled through icy snakes, laughing that as a dark cleric. His power rose in shadow, surely top 10 material. The instructors exchanged speechless looks, then admitted his wind seal and fireball spells had to be at least branked to pull off such carnage. One teacher chuckled, saying the kid fit the elemental academy perfectly as if born for it. Yanfu refocused the group, noting that while the boy now led in combat, the second exam, the Great Ogre's Den, would truly test strategy. Entering the second zone, Yun Shen instantly felt his legs suck down as thick mud tried to swallow him whole. He jammed his weapon into the ground, used it as leverage to leap up, blasted a fireball below, and landed neatly on solid ground. A foggy swamp stretched ahead with vision cut short. He frowned, knowing he'd need his refined perception across fast. He activated natural interaction, sensing life force currents through plants to greatly boost environmental awareness. Moving forward, he analyzed that this skill was usually basic, but his version was Betrayal, several times stronger. He paused by a tree, placed a hand on its bark, and let energy ripple outward, sensing with the vegetation around him. Soon moss, vines, and fungi became his eyes, thousands of senses connecting him to the entire forest. When the flora began to glow, he clearly saw a hidden path leading to the third gate ahead. He dashed that way, running along massive tree roots buried deep underground. His body swift as wind, he hopped from root to root, moving silently like a shadow. Nearing the goal, he drew out a green tendril rope. Ready for his final swing, the rope shot out. Wrapping a branch above beneath him yawned a pit of black sludge. He warned himself not to fall. Testing the grip, he swung like a nimble monkey, landing softly on the opposite tree, safe from the muck below. But the instant he steadied himself, he sensed killing intent, a pitch-black creature lurking on the trunk. Ready to strike, it lunged down like lightning, brandishing a small blade that gleamed with icy menace. As the light flashed, its form showed muscular, ill-feared, fanged, and grinning ferociously midair. Just as it struck, a crimson staff appeared on Yun Shen's shoulder, its blue gem smoked, blasting a blazing fireball that sent the creature rolling. Scorched and screaming, he turned, voice deep and echoing, saying they still didn't get the situation. His grip on the flaming staff unwavering. Coldly, he declared that every plant here was his eyes and ears, freezing the remaining monsters in fear. Then he raised his staff and slammed it down, magic surging like a wave. His voice boomed, "This is Rit's first skill, welcome to hell." The monsters howled wildly, but he walked forward calmly, noting that his growth power worked differently from normal spells. This skill carried a parasitic effect. Plants that struck foes drained their life, turning them into forest nutrients. On the monitoring screen, the instructors were stunned by his chanting speed, exclaiming his nature magic far surpassed standard limits. Just as his evolved talent file claimed, Yanfu coolly commented that this was the sensory test, the survival key in any real battlefield. He added that anyone lacking sharp perception would die in chaos, mage, engineer, or assassin alike, and the fact that he chose natural interaction, the most fitting skill here, proved his superior judgment. He escaped the swamp with ease. Of course, others chose cruder paths, mages blowing everything up, blood knights bulldozing through. Now Yun Shen shifted into battle mode, sprinting and mapping the maze mentally, yet thanks to his plant network, he never lost his way. He stopped before a giant axe-wielding beast, calmly noting, "So this is the next battle gate." The monster was huge as a bronze statue, skin dark green, golden eyes gleaming, and its axe radiating a chilling aura. It seemed half asleep, harmless even, but was actually a level 15 great ogre captain with roar and power boost skills. Its eyes cracked open, frowning at strange heat. Then, seeing Yun Shen, it roared furiously. Yun Shen raised his staff. A burst of red light exploded, fire wrapping the beast before it could even swing its axe. When the smoke cleared, he stood, battered but alive, rasping that this was indeed the third battle chamber. Before him, the room swarmed with raging ogres, one enormous brute seated on a throne amid crimson flames. Another ogre knelt trembling, begging forgiveness for letting a human slip in while its chief slept. The great ogre chief coldly suppressed his fury, declaring temporary mercy for the useless fool. Instantly, the captain sprang up, vowing through gritted teeth to crush the human to redeem himself. At that moment, Yun Shen appeared, voice low and sharp, his words making the ogre captain flinch in fear. He strode closer, tone indifferent, saying if the beast wished to atone, he'd gladly help. He hurled his staff. The impact shook the air, leaving the captain frozen under its sheer power. The ogre chief roared in rage, calling Yun Shen a damned human for killing his gatekeeper right before his eyes. Below, the level 15 ogres roared, bearing fangs and spewing poison as killing intent flooded the hall. Yun Shen used his appraisal skill, frowning at the overwhelming numbers. This was no small fight. Then he grinned, planted his staff, and said it was time for a grand feast. Crimson light spiraled out wildly. The ogre chief bellowed, swinging his massive hammer straight at Yun Shen in fury. The impact sent him flying. His body trembled, face contorted, nearly collapsing amid the smoke. The chief laughed savagely, slamming his hammer down and roaring that the weak could only die in fear. But looking again, he froze. Yun Shen was still standing, perhaps a clone, yet smirking defiantly. Enraged, the chief slammed his 1,000-pound hammer again and again, screaming, "Die! Die!" In madness, the more he attacked, the more frantic he became, while Yun Shen dodged easily, dancing through the storm of blows. Suddenly, 3 clones appeared, surrounding him. The chief panted, drained and shaking. Yun Shen's staff flared. Red light pierced the ogre's skull, his dying scream echoing through the hall. A shaman ogre howled, recognizing fire magic, and rallied his kin to attack in crazed excitement. 8 shamans erupted in flame, scarlet fire flooding the arena, igniting a brutal death match. Soon after, Yun Shen fell to one knee, body heavy as if all energy were gone. Twin Hammer Shaman laughed insanely, proclaiming he'd found the real one at last. But as his laughter rang, Yun Shen's body twisted oddly, making the ogre sense something was wrong. A sudden pinkard beam struck down, freezing him mid-swing. Yun Shen appeared behind him, voice calm yet sinister, saying the ogre had made his recovery much easier. Viewers gasped as the ogre chief began slaughtering his own minions on screen. It turned out he'd been hit by the Omyogus Hideer spell Curse Command Soul Delusion, his mind fully enslaved. That skill, from Futination, trapped victims in illusion seeing and hearing what wasn't real. Yun Shen had even slain the captain before the chief to enrage him, boosting the spell's success rate. The spectators were stunned, both admiring and anxious now that the illusion had broken. Once lucid, the ogre chief roared in fury, charging at Yun Shen like a maddened beast, yet he had no clue he was charging straight into the explosive trap Yun Shen had set. The instant his foot hit, alarms blared and the bomb detonated in a violent inferno. Blood-soaked but roaring, the chief vowed to kill Yun Shen no matter the cost. Yun Shen smiled serenely, saying everything had been prepared while the ogre was under his spell. The ogre pushed on, only to trigger thunder traps, Bana-cutting blades, and falling stones that crushed his skull. Finally, the engineer's weapon skill activated. Fire jets erupted to burn the ogre's body to ash. At last, the beast crawled before Yun Shen, gasping for mercy, while he only smiled and praised the boss' endurance. Hearing that, the chief went berserk, shrieking a curse of slaughter as flames raged across his body. Yet Yun Shen stayed calm, saying the foe before him was just a clone, not his real self. Instantly he unleashed void break slash invisible blades ripped the ogre chief into scraps. The system chimed victory. Yun Shen cleared the great ogre's nest on nightmare mode in 11 minutes 43 seconds. Observers gasped in awe, stunned by how artfully he'd used traps and tactics. Elemental Academy's headmaster, Lion Hexian, stroked his beard and smiled, noting others still struggled with mobs while Yun Shen topped the charts. The Weapon Academy's headmaster from Huangxi Capital replied coldly, intrigued by the powerful freshman, making Lion Hexian laugh and throw back a challenge. The two headmasters locked eyes, sparks flying, each wanting Yun Shen for their school. The instructors were dumbstruck, watching a recruitment war erupt before Yun Shen even left the arena. Then the system flared bright. Yun Shen earned the first S rank, with massive X, stats, and a grand title. Excited, he felt power surge through him, leveling up 3 times as the system unlocked his first innate talent. The first choice duel casting a rank, doubling a spell's effect when cast. The other options light acceleration for speed and frenzied precision for chaining damage per strike. Yun Shen pondered, recalling a similar skill from the university exams, then picked duel casting for practicality. Instantly, light swirled around him, marking his forehead. The R-rank talent successfully activated. When finished, he walked away calmly, leaving the ogre corpse behind, then stopped, seeing a massive floating object ahead. From the glowing mass spun a huge circular stone tablet, radiating a storm-like aura. He frowned, puzzled that another path appeared after clearing the dungeon, then realized it was a rare hidden checkpoint. Rumor said such places appeared only for those meeting special conditions, housing monsters and treasures beyond imagination. Without hesitation, Yun Shen stepped forward, eager to challenge it since it wouldn't affect his record. As the gate opened, snow fell over a vast plaza, and he appeared before a giant clock in the empty expanse. Then another student laughed triumphantly, bragging he was the true top scorer of Jiangnan. He turned smugly to the newcomer, saying if he'd been 1 second faster, he might have stolen the crown. Shin Taran stepped up, tone lazy and scornful, saying Yun Shen should have been top 1 but that jobless guy only shone for a moment. The crowd burst out laughing, mocking that Yun Shen didn't even reach top 10, a useless backdoor entrant. But Dai Qingling, Sharpied, pointed to the screen, shouting that something was off in Yun Shen's battle room. Indeed, the display showed him entering a strange gate, the hidden checkpoint, leaving everyone shocked and envious. Several top 10 students shouted in protest, accusing Yun Shen of cheating since no one could be that fast. Lion Hexian tapped the desk calmly, telling everyone to stay quiet and wait for the final results. Suddenly, the monitor went dark, throwing the hall into confusion. Some suspected an error or deliberate blackout. Lion Hexian merely smiled, saying the hidden checkpoint wasn't meant for outsiders to see, better to let the boy handle it himself. In the hidden zone, Yun Shen stood alone in a cold, empty chamber where dim light glimmered off gray tiles. He muttered that aside from a crimson scarecrow standing motionless, there was nothing here, so that must be the foe. Its status board read Cursed Effigy. Level 1. Intellect unknown, bearing a deadly hex, though low level. Yun Shen stayed wary, scanning it repeatedly and sensing something terribly off. Suddenly, the scarecrow turned its head toward him stiffly, yet radiating a sinister aura. Yun Shen raised his staff in an escort stance, deciding to strike first and test its strength. In a blink, the scarecrow burst from the ground, flying at him with impossible speed. Soulless eyes glowing, it closed the distance instantly, and Yun Shen admitted even his eyes could barely track it. A phantom flashed across its body, then white lightning exploded, sealing the space around him. Its wooden arm spun, forming a whirl of energy that lashed out like a lightning jab. Yun Shen dodged aside with a smirk, joking that it nearly got him there. but then he froze. Several of his hairs were stuck to the Scarecrow's neck, his eyes widening. As the strands sank in, the doll swelled grotesquely, glowing red and trembling violently, losing patience. Yunshen activated Gale's Step and launched Flame Fist straight at its head. The punch exploded in fire, incinerating the doll, but the flames rebounded, blasting Yunshen backward amid red smoke. Staggering up, he was horrified to find his Flame Fist had backfired, burning him, and the Scarecrow now looked just like him. In the firelight, its charred face mirrored Yunshen's features eerily well. Realizing something was wrong, he watched as the Scarecrow suddenly rammed its head into the wall like a lunatic. At the same instant, Yunshen flew backward, coughing blood, feeling the same skull-crushing pain. Panicked, he rushed forward to stop it, yet any attack would hurt him equally. As it kept smashing itself against the wall, he writhed in agony, screaming helplessly. Gritting his teeth, Yunshen summoned vines to bind the doll before it destroyed itself again. It thrashed, punching deep into the wall. Blood spattered from its hands while Yunshen's arms convulsed in pain. Despite the torment, he forced a grin through ragged breaths, saying had finally uncovered the foe's true secret. On the screen, he appeared battered head to toe, yet his eyes blazed with terrifying resolve. In the control room, Headmaster Yanfu chuckled, saying the boy had truly stepped into a life-or-death duel. He turned to ask Director Xia Jingxing why she still believed Yunshen would win, curiosity in his gaze. She replied firmly that one look at his calm eyes showed nothing could shake him. Back on the field, Yunshen finally understood the doll didn't share his life but transferred its wounds onto him. Chanting a healing spell, he mended his wounds and noted that a level 1 put couldn't withstand recovery from a level 16 mage. Yunshen reasoned that if it truly copied his stats, the wall would crack, not its fist. As he spoke, the Scarecrow screamed in pain, its arm splintering, bomb-like cracks echoing through the cold chamber. He raised a hand to halt, calmly explaining that their injuries mirrored each other, so it had faked weakness to trick him. He summoned blazing fire, murmuring darkly if he hurt himself, could that creature endure his pain? Without hesitation, he slammed Flame Fist into his own chest. The doll shrieked as its body exploded, bones bursting apart. As the flames faded, Yunshen exhaled with a grin. Thankfully it was only level 1 if equal level. It'd be a nightmare. On the floor lay a shimmering item, Cursed Effigy Core, a news artifact that transfers damage to any target. He picked it up, marveling at its power, a perfect trump card for future battles. Outside, a bald student shouted impatiently that everyone was waiting, until teammates dragged him back to calm down. Yunshen hurried back, thinking he'd clearly broken a record, yet the mission hadn't ended, meaning another duel round awaited. Then Headmaster Yanfu stepped forward, cane tapping, voice stern. Someone had cheated. Knowing the battle rooms in advance, students murmured accusations of bribery, while Su Fengwang's face went pale with panic. Amid the uproar, Yanfu slammed his cane, ordering silence and announcing an unknown duel test to prove true strength. The freshman froze in disbelief. An arena conjure from thin air. It had to be a divinograde skill. He barked the rules. Anyone could challenge anyone. The victor claimed rank and credits. Refusal forbidden. Instantly, the new students clenched their fists and roared in excitement. Ready for real combat, the air boiled with challenges as everyone sought to prove themselves and climb the leaderboard. Yunshen stood still amid the chaos. Realizing this was the final trial, a test of true power, he smiled, raised his staff high, and shouted that holding top 1 wasn't easy. Anyone eager could come try. At once, students leaped onto the arena, the ground shaking with each heavy step. 2 hot-headed ones yelled for permission to duel the top 1. Yunshen right there on the spot. He waved lazily, voice playful, saying fighting 1 by 1 was tedious. Both could come at once. Red-faced, they roared acceptance, vowing to teach him humility for his arrogance. They charged together. One unleashed blazing rush, the other swift blade storm, their attacks relentless. Yunshen just shook his head and scoffed. Too slow, he shifted his stance, invoking the Fire Mage's master skill Infernal Step. The ground quaked violently as stone fragments erupted like an earthquake. Su Wangfeng hastily raised his shield, but thick white smoke engulfed everything, cutting off vision completely. Spectators screamed in shock without the instructor's barriers. They'd have been blown away by the blast too. Another student pointed shakily, shouting that both challengers had fallen in the smoky haze. When the smoke cleared, the two lay motionless by the boulder, smoking and too weak to rise. Only Yunshen stood tall in the battlefield, his cold voice echoing, "Anyone else want a piece of me?" Silencing all, a student stammered, begging to stop, fearing Yunshen's terrifying strength. Yunshen raised his head and boldly asked again, "Anyone else dare try their luck?" The 8 trainees stayed dead silent, eyes darting away, none brave enough to step forward. A young man analyzed that the brave step skill not only stuns but requires superhuman strength. The crowd buzzed in awe, admitting Yunshen's power was monstrous, while Su Huangfeng could only watch in fearful respect. Suddenly, Shin Taran stepped out with a deep voice, declaring a challenge: the Hidden Blood Knight. Tapa de Zo Academy. Then a platinum-haired girl appeared, her aura blazing, also wishing to fight, stunning the crowd with her dazzling beauty. Someone recognized her as Naiga, a noble spirit swordswoman with rare silver moon blood and strength awakening talent. Shin Taran frowned, insisting on fighting first, but Naigu refused to yield. their tension sharp as a drawn bow. Yunshen merely smiled and waved, saying, "No need to argue, come both at once." Instantly, Shintaran roared, drawing his red-violet sword and shield, leaping onto the stage and challenging all. Oldie chuckled, sensing this clash between high-tier and basic classes would be worth watching. The signal sounded, and Shintaran swung his giant blade, unleashing a blood phantom straight at Yunshen. A crimson explosion erupted, fire sweeping the arena and forcing everyone to squint. Students below screamed in shock, the power cracked even the field's barrier. Yet Yunshen stayed calm, dodging lightly as the energy wall shattered around him. He gripped his magic staff tight, eyes cold as steel, body steady and ready to strike back. Every movement of his was so precise it looked mechanical, leaving spectators slack-jawed. Shintaran laughed, convinced a mere brank fireball could pierce his defense. Yunshen smirked, flinging crimson flames, mocking his foe for hiding behind fragile armor. Green tendrils burst out, binding Shintaran, who roared that such petty tricks were useless, but Yunshen didn't let him counter, casting growth, shaking the entire arena. At its peak, Shintaran writhed in agony as the plants pierced his armor, draining his life away. Desperate, he unleashed blood flame, burning off the tendrils before being completely drained. Yunshen only sneered, summoning red fire to burn everything before him. Then he switched to water magic, summoning a massive water column that drenched his opponent. The students below shouted that it wasn't a water spell anymore, it was a full-blown waterfall. Yunshen raised his staff and lunged, using a spearman's strike to end the match. Shintaran, bound by tendrils, watched Yunshen charge in despair. Realizing he had no way out, so he activated Blood Overdrive, vanished from sight, and escaped the bindings, suddenly appearing behind Yunshen. He swung his sword and roared, pouring all into one final strike. But Yunshen had foreseen it, calmly waiting as the Blood Phantom strike approached. He blocked the blade with his foot, muttered blandly, then countered with sweeping strike, slamming his staff into the opponent's face. The impact sent Shintaran flying. Yet he staggered up, shouting that Yunshen just got lucky. Before he could finish, a red blade pressed to his neck. Yunshen whispered, "It's over." Voice light as a breeze, seeing no way out, Shintaran dropped his weapon, raised his hands, and bitterly surrendered. The host announced Yunshen's victory. 2,000 credits earned as the crowd erupted. Hailing Saint Yunshen, old Yanfu stroked his beard, praising Shintaran's skill but sighing that books can't teach how to face a classless. At that moment, Nigu landed on the stage, coldly claiming his win was just speed against her. That meant nothing. Yunshen smiled faintly, replying that strength would speak for itself in battle. Below, students buzzed excitedly about the duel between the classless and the Silver Moon Elf. On stage, Yunshen stood firm and calm, his aura commanding all attention, but Nigu spoke first, noting he had just used a rare, risky range extension skill. Then she unleashed 3 blinding green slashes, striking rapidly at Yunshen. The students held their breath. Her radiant strikes were stunning, yet none touched Yunshen. After 4 misses, Nigu smirked, admitting his speed impressed her but mocking that he couldn't dodge forever in such a small arena. As she spoke, her greatsword shone silver bright, but Yunshen remained unflinching. Suddenly, he charged straight at Nigu, exploiting her slower reaction speed. Instantly, she spun and unleashed Moon Slash, silver light sweeping across the floor. Yunshen dodged sideways, switching tactics with a Spearmaster's active skill. He drew his platinum spear, the one he'd bought with all his savings before enrollment. Nigu froze briefly, noticing its low grade, wondering what he was planning. Then realization struck she'd been baited, leaving her defense open, her gaze darkening. Yunshen said coldly, "A wide attack range is useless once I'm enclosed, you're just a target now." He used an assassin's throat slash, and Nigu countered, smiling as she confirmed she'd predicted his move. Suddenly, shockwave blasted Yunshen backward. He groaned, body spinning midair. Nigu activated her Silver Moon bloodline, glowing bright, thinking this one-shot skill was worth it. The crowd watched, certain Yunshen was trapped with no escape, yet when the light arrow struck, his figure vanished, leaving only a smoky blur behind. As Nigu faltered in confusion, a cold blade touched her neck. Yunshen's voice murmured, "Having fun with my clone," she gasped. When he replied, "While you were blocking," calmly he added, "If he'd wanted a direct fight, he'd have chosen Fire Mage. This was a strategy, using an assassin's clone just to distract her." Hearing that, Nigu fell to her knees, eyes empty. She knew the match was over. The announcer shouted Yunshen's victory. Nigus 1,500 credits transferred as the crowd roared, calling him a living legend. Nigu looked up, eyes shimmering, voice trembling. Her first defeat by a peer left her unwilling to accept it. On the stands, teachers murmured, admitting the girl had guts and talent worth nurturing. One suggested the dean convince Yunshen to change his class, but Yanfu calmly said, "Let him choose his own path." Yunshen sighed, saying he was bored of one-unknown fights and wanted them all to come at once. The surrounding trainees stormed forward, furious at his arrogance and eager to teach him a lesson. Yunshen only chuckled, raised his staff, and unleashed a blinding light expansion technique. The flash was so bright everyone covered their eyes, shouting in pain from the glare. Then countless red beams shot out, streaking toward those charging him. Screams erupted as scarlet flames engulfed the arena, followed by a violent explosion. When the smoke cleared, bodies sprawled across the ground. Begging for mercy and surrendering, Yunshen planted his staff, eyes cold, murmuring, "Now it's quiet." The academy fell silent. No one had ever faced everyone alone and still stood tall. Today, it became reality. Yunshen, with unmatched strength, tactics, and will, carved his name into history. Most would boast with just one of those traits. He had them all, turning awe into pure reverence. Among the crowd, a man in black muttered that Yunshen's top rank wasn't from strength but because no one could surpass him. Students buzzed with praise, declaring Yunshen the obvious no. 1, while they'd settle for the top 2,000. The MEPC announced the freshman rankings: Yunshen first, then Shen Taran, Naigu, and Yi Qingling, sending the hall into chaos. Meanwhile, Yunshen quietly opened his system panel, reading the notice: top 1 achieved reward, strength skill lucky drink. The info stated the special drink granted maximum luck for 24 hours after use. He smiled faintly, thinking the system must fear trouble, giving him god-tier life-saving skills. Convenient indeed. Suddenly, a commotion arose. Someone shouted that Xu Wangfeng, once top 2, had dropped to rank 26, shocking everyone. A blonde student laughed, explaining he had been defeated by Shen Taran. Not stupid, just terrifying when he truly fought. Then Yanfa's voice boomed, declaring the contest over and ordering everyone to prepare for Academy Division. He sternly reminded them, "The War Academy proves ideals through blood. If you fear death, choose another path." Students whispered that while War Academy was brutal, the Weapon Academy now had a new dean, the female war goddess Xia Quanqing, making all wary. Yunshen looked up at her, recalling her record. Just in history, triplet class ascender, Demon Lord Slayer, famed across the land. Suddenly, Xia Quanqing strode up to him, voice firm and commanding: Yunshen, join my Weapon Academy. The entire hall froze, stunned that she personally recruited him, then erupted, saying that was exactly the blunt style of a true battlefield general. Yanfu just laughed, turning to Yunshen, join the War Academy and I'll take you as my disciple. 3 rank skills to start. Right after, Lion Hexine cut in slyly, only 3 books, oldie, cheap. Yunshen, come to the Elemental Academy, you'll throw in herbs, mana stones, and a diamond gear set. The crowd gasped. Classic mage move, bribing with wealth and absurd resources. Yanfa's face darkened, muttering that his old friend was outspending him again. Between 2 tempting offers, Yunshen stayed silent, clearly weighing the unique strengths of both academies. Suddenly, a dark aura spread, chilling the air and everyone's spine. Yanfu and Lion Hexin turned pale, exclaiming together, "That presence is it." Xia Quanqing raised a black crystal, her cold voice echoing, "Essence of the Demon Lord, heed my command." Seeing it, Yunshen instantly recognized the Demon Lord's essence, forged from his glass demon's body, leaving the hall in shock. A girl whispered that the essence boosts physical stats, adds attribute points per level, even awakens rare original demon bloodlines. Yanfu sighed that the girl went too far, while Lion Hexian nodded, saying such a treasure couldn't be bought even with fortune. Yunshen pondered. Most academies competed for prestige, but Xia Quanqing was different. She cared nothing for fame or gain. With her offer and warrior aura, he knew he had no reason to refuse. He raised his head decisively and declared, "I choose the Weapon Academy." Xia Quanqing's lips curved, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. After the recruitment, Nigu approached and whispered, "You got summoned by the dean too?" Yunshen simply replied, "Yeah." Nigu froze, thinking, just one word, no wonder I lost his colder than ice. Then Xai's assistant appeared, smiling, "You two are personally chosen by the dean. Stay close from now on." As she spoke, a glowing teleportation array appeared beneath Yunshen and Naigu's feet. In an instant, the scenery shifted. They'd entered an entirely different space. Their guide led them into a grand hall filled with a colossal dragon skeleton and countless battle relics. Nigu gaped in awe at the monster bones and treasures, exclaiming it looked like a war museum. Yunshen silently observed, thinking if all these trophies belonged to Dean Xia, she was likely the strongest person had ever met. As they entered, Xia Quanqing sat on a red chair, snapping her book shut, her cool voice saying, "You've arrived." Both immediately bowed and greeted in unison. "Greetings, Dean." She glanced at Naigu, ordering, "Kaiha, the elf suits your guidance. Take her to commune with nature and use this potion." Kaiha nodded and obeyed. Nigu obediently left, leaving Yunshen alone in the vast chamber. The air grew heavy as Xia Quanqing looked straight at him. Her calm yet commanding tone silenced the entire room. Raising her hand, the demon essence glowed darkly as she said firmly, "Prepare to absorb this demon lord's essence." Yunshen studied the crystal carefully, eyes flickering, then asked its origin. She nodded, confirming it was refined from the corpse of the Dark Knight matron by her own hand with a god-tier alchemist. She paused, voice low and secretive, "It's not in any book. Now I'll tell you the true nature of this world and humanity's real enemy." Yunshen froze, heart pounding. Could it be the enemies weren't just monsters from the game? Xia Quanqing frowned slightly, her voice echoing like a memory. "Monsters are only the surface. 70 years ago, when the world merged with the game, races like demons, elves, and fiends appeared." She continued, "Those races were merely humans choosing different forms in the game. Their essence remained human." Her tone turned icy. "Beyond our world lies another, the Dark Realm. It's filled with demon entities that cross spatial rifts. Among them, the Demon Lord rivals 2 Tier 4 humans combined. Yunshen frowned, asking softly, if the Demon Lords are that powerful, how could humans make their essences? Quanqing smiled mysteriously, because the method wasn't created by humans. She explained that essence comes from a sacrificial ritual used to commune with the creator gods, offering rare materials, especially demons hiding in the rifts, forms a divine pact. Staring into the distance, her voice resonated. The game Divine Domain was made by the high heavens. Humans themselves are their creations. Every crafting formula, divine gear, and hidden skill came from offerings. Yunshen murmured, communing with gods through sacrifice. Feeling the world around him grow unfamiliar, his knowledge shaken, Quanqing softened her tone, placing the essence in his hand, her gaze full of expectation. If you're ready, absorb it. Success means inheriting the Dark Knight matron's bloodline. Yunshen gripped the crystal, voice trembling slightly. Dean, may I rest for an hour before doing it? Quanqing nodded gently, rare warmth in her eyes. Fine, rest in my office. Someone will bring tea and pastries. I'll return in an hour. In the quiet room, Yunshen sat by the window, lost in thought, when a blazing phoenix flew in and perched lightly on the frame. He immediately used appraisal, guessing it must be Dian Xia's contracted divine beast. Yet no matter how hard he tried, the result was blank, its rank and nature unreadable. He sighed softly, eyes tinged with helplessness. Can't even see its name, truly beyond my reach. A knock at the door broke his thoughts. He straightened up and said calmly, come in. The door opened. 2 girls entered, one with a tray of pastries, one with a teapot, bowing in unison to greet the dean's guest. Yunshen looked awkward, replying quietly, thank you. He observed them closely, surprised to sense demonic energy rare within this academy. He reminded himself that in Huanglong Nation, all soul-binding contracts were forbidden, except with beasts or demons from spatial rifts. Thinking so, he said gently, you 2 may rest. I'll call if needed. When they left, he exhaled softly, likely demon folk servants of the dean. As the door closed, Yunshen pulled out a vial of glowing green liquid, muttering, Demon Lord essence is too rare to waste if I fail. Then drank it all. Afterward, he felt nothing, just like plain water, and guessed it might take 24 hours to activate. An hour later, Quanqing returned, stern-eyed. The essence is volatile. When it triggers, it'll hurt like hell. Don't worry, I'll supervise. Yunshen nodded, gripping the crystal, softly replying, yes, Dean. He crushed it, energy bursting forth as his body felt aflame, pain searing through every muscle. The agony hit so hard he screamed, sweat pouring as his body convulsed violently. Quanqing caught him, her voice firm but steady. Endure it. True power never comes easily. She clenched her fist. The floor trembled as chaotic energy surged around them. Channeling her strength, she placed a hand on his shoulder, murmuring, I can only ease the pain, otherwise you'll lose control and drain yourself dry. Outside, the 2 demon girls and Kathy heard the commotion, rushing in, Kathy asking, Dean, how's Naga's progress? Mid-sentence, she blushed scarlet at the sight of the dean holding Yunshen amid waves of dark light, stammered an apology, and fled. Yunshen panicked. It's not what you think, but Xia cut him off coldly. Ignore it, focus and absorb. Just then, Yunshen's superhuman regeneration suddenly activated. The pain vanished. He was stunned to realize his healing skill had triggered on its own. Xia released him, momentarily unsettled. While Yunshen checked his system, his stats had skyrocketed beyond prediction. She looked at him in awe. You've awakened the Dark Knight matron's bloodline, at least one of its types. Yunshen hesitated, maybe both, just at low level for now. Xia was even more astonished. No one had ever absorbed a Demon Lord essence completely. His talent defied logic. She explained softly, that gift will evolve with time. Once complete, it'll reach plus rank. Hearing this, Yunshen bowed gratefully, feeling unexpected warmth from the 1cc Dean. Silently vowing to repay her, she smiled suddenly, saying, from now on, call me Teacher D, and remember, there'll be monthly tests. Fail, and you'll be punished. Meanwhile, deep in a dark cave, a furious roar echoed, heavy with hatred. A redrobed figure knelt before a demon lord, vowing to kill Yunshen and offer his heart. The demon lord agreed coldly, promising him war good power. The next morning, in the dorm, Yunshen awoke to a lavish breakfast fit for a noble. He picked up a shiny plate, tossed it forward, and focused his will. Instantly, the plate hovered midair. He froze, realizing the power of his eyes of the night. He recalled Teacher D's words at rank. Those eyes could lock on anything, surpassing all talents of its tier. Yet thinking of how the Dark Knight matron was once defeated by her, he wondered just how strong she truly was. With that thought lingering, he left the room, walking slowly across the windswept courtyard. At that moment, the 2 demon girls whispered that he might soon become their future master. Hearing that, Yunshen blushed and hurriedly explained the misunderstanding, making the 2 girls panic, promised to stay silent, and flee. He stood frozen, sighing inwardly. The luck potion was clearly still working. This misunderstanding might linger, but maybe it'd turn into an advantage. Thinking so, he chuckled to himself and soon found a glittering pouch of gold at his feet. A gust of wind mischievously blew up two girls' skirts ahead, making him panic and mutter, "Don't look." While his eyes betrayed him, at a diner, the owner cheerfully announced he was the 10,000th customer-free meal. The lucky streak thrilled him even more. He decided to use the chance to complete his daily quest, hoping today's reward would be something special. Thinking of the luck potion, he felt sure the result would be exactly what he needed, so he selected random enchantment material on the system board. Instantly, the screen flashed. He obtained Longshi Fire Blood, Crimson Dragon Essence filled with wrath, boosting enchantment damage. Overjoyed, Yunshen praised his absurd fortune top-tier material. No less. That afternoon, class ended with the teacher's encouragement to keep their passion and perseverance alive. Seeing Yunshen rush out, Nigu frowned, wondering where he was headed. Curiosity won, she followed quietly, insisting she was just observing a rival, not stalking. But after a few steps, her face flushed. The more she watched, the more charming he seemed. His looks, his calm, exactly her type. Reaching the enchantment hall, she gathered courage and asked, "You're here to enchant?" He nodded. While she tried to act natural, she recalled that enchanting could raise power fast, but one mistake could ruin everything. At the counter, Yunshen firmly said he wanted to buy materials. The clerk smiled, pointing to the price board, explaining payment was in academy points. Yunshen skimmed the list and said decisively, This'll take them all." The clerk cheerfully totaled at 30 discount, 3,100 points. He swiped instantly, leaving Nigu wide at his bold spending. The staff asked if he wanted a professional enchanter's help. He refused flatly. "No need. I can do it myself." Then he laid out the materials and began the ritual. Swirls of violet light rose as the items floated, radiating strange energy. Moments later, the system chimed, "Enchantment successful. Gold tier quality." Stats boosted. He instantly chose to continue. Purple light flared brighter around the altar, dazzling everyone nearby. The crowd gasped, whispering wildly, "That glow, could it be 7-star success?" "Impossible." The system announced enchantment success, gold 7-star. Strength and intelligence skyrocketed. Physical and magic damage 25. Nigu stood behind him, jaw dropped. He hadn't used any fancy skill, just tossed ingredients and clicked auto, yet succeeded. Students crowded around, some in awe, some laughing. 7 stars has only a 5% rate. Has literally the god of luck's favorite. Nigu warned nervously, "Stop, don't push it. 8-star has only one chance." But Yunshen calmly said, "Continue." Her eyes widened, heart pounding. If he succeeded, the weapon would transcend limits. If he failed, it all turned to dust. A red cloak student shouted, "No way, he's that lucky." Then light burst out and the hall erupted. It worked. The system blared, 8-star enchantment complete. 45 stats. Added Dragon Pool Fire Blood, weakening all dragonkin and boosting damage against them. Nico froze, mumbling, "Now this is true golden gear way beyond diamond rank." Yunshen gripped the weapon, feeling power surge, smiling in satisfaction before heading home for a well-earned rest. Suddenly, a burly guy swaggered up. "Kid, sell it to me 30 above market." Yunshen coolly replied, "And if I don't?" The crowd whispered, "His challenging Lin Loi. That guy's Dragon Clan and in the student council crazy." Nico smirked, thinking those senior bullies had no clue how terrifying the new batch was if Yunshen struck. They were done for. Lin Loi raised an eyebrow, boasting, "Hand it over, and you'll earn the honor of standing beside me. Only I deserve that weapon." Yunshen sneered, slammed the weapon down, releasing a chilling aura as dragon blood intimidation activated. His eyes sharp as blades. Lin Loi froze, heart racing. "What's this fear? Impossible." Dragon Clan. Yunshen tightened his grip, voice low and heavy. "So you're saying I'm unworthy? If I once sell, then I'm your enemy." Lin Loi trembled, pale, dragon blood freezing. The closer he got, the more terrified he became, unable to understand why. His body shook violently as he collapsed, stammering, "Don't come near me. I don't want to die." Yunshen calmly replied, "The academy forbids fighting. I dislike violence. Let's stay rational." Lin Loi's buddies panicked, shouting, "Brother Loi, calm down. Don't lose it." Yunshen walked past him, saying coolly, "Do as you wish. I'm busy." While thinking his luck potion was still active, every minute counts. Nico ran after him, yelling, "Hey, wait up." Behind them, the crowd buzzed. One glare scared Lin Loi into hiding behind school rules. "Who was that kid?" Catching up, Nico asked, "How'd you get 7 then 8 stars? Huh, luckiest day ever." Yunshen sighed, "Yeah, but time's almost up." They turned toward the library. Nico gawked as he headed for the ancient book. "Isel, you're reading now?" Yunshen mused. The library allowed self-learning of skills, but choosing the right one among countless tomes was tough. Though with his luck, any pick could be a treasure. Sure enough, his gaze locked onto 2 glowing rare books on the shelf. He opened the blue one, tracking rank B, able to follow residual energy trails far beyond high school knowledge. Then the red one, Shadow Flow Stab, an advanced assassination skill with a bonus basic aura shield. Both perfectly fit his path. Finishing both, he nodded. "Good, now what next?" Nico, still clueless but eager, followed as he turned toward the mount market. The bald shopkeeper grinned, "Looking for a mount? Sky, sea, or land? We've got it all, but payments in course credits only." Yunshen pointed to the left corner, firmly saying, "He'll take that one," trusting his luck wouldn't fail him. Nico gawked. Why pick that weakling? The owner agreed. No one's bought it in 3 months, just pay 100 credits for feed. Yunshin nodded without hesitation. He then pulled out a rare tonic worth 1,800 credits and tossed it for the creature to drink. The beast gulped it down, trembling as power erupted and its body began to transform. Its feathers turned silver-white, glowing brilliantly as its aura skyrocketed. Yunshin just smiled. Must be luck, while the owner silently screamed. Heavens, I undersold a treasure. Yunshin stroked the bird's neck, calmly saying, from now on, you're my partner, call you Xiaohan. Nico snickered at the odd name. After finishing the paperwork, they rode Xiaohan into the sky. Yunshin checked the time. His luck potion was nearly gone. Must act fast. They landed at the summoned beast training base, deep within Jiangnan University's botanical zone. A blonde attendant greeted. What grade of summon would you like? Sir, from iron to diamond. Yunshin replied. Let me look, thinking he could only summon basic water types for now. He considered he needed a long-term growth companion, easier to bond if not too high grade. Suddenly, a faint cry came from a corner, a tiny green-haired creature reaching toward him for help. Looking closer, it was a thornflower beast, small, lively, oddly the only gold ranked among all diamond-level beasts. The blonde explained that one grows poorly and eats too much worthless. Nico nodded. Pick another. It's just trouble. Yunshin paused, then firmly said, nope, he'll take it. Gold rank matched his current bonding ability without overreaching. He added, he'll buy its plant too, plus 3 portions of food. The blonde checked. That's 3,800 credits total. As they left the base under dusk, Nico hesitated beside him. Hey, I need a favor. Yunshin smirked, teasing. I was wondering how long you'd tail me. Nico puffed her cheeks. Who's tailing? Anyway, she blushed, mumbling. Can you lend me 1,500 credits? I lost all my points to you. Without hesitation, Yunshin pulled a student card. Sure, he'll transfer it now. Nico stared at the balance, had spent all day yet still had over 8,000 credits left. True Academy rich kid. Yunshin turned away, saying casually, it's late, I'm heading back. Take your time. Nico called after him. Thanks, I'll repay in half a month. She smiled, thinking, cold outside, warm inside, what a guy. A month later, in the vice principal's office, Dean Yanfuck asked, Lai, 3 months into the semester, how are the freshmen? Lai replied evenly, same as always, competitive and strong, which is good. Yanfuck nodded, eyes gleaming. And Yunshin, she said, he studies intensely, excels in all combat types from melee to ranged, but has the loneliest one in class. Lai added, Yunshin only interacts occasionally with Nico, otherwise, entirely solitary, buried in research and training. Yanfuck sighed, outstanding students often isolate themselves, but on the battlefield, lack of teamwork means death. Lai nodded. That's why Xuanlong Nation holds an annual freshman exchange to train cooperation. Yanfuck continued, as usual, the team will be formed from first years. Summon the top 20 to meet me. That afternoon, at the archery training field, the air buzzed with excitement as hundreds of students gathered for testing. The duel between Yunshin and Nico drew all eyes. Instructor Keisha's voice rang out. Archery assessment. Begin! Nico struck first, swift as wind, nature advancement, 3 arrows streaking in radiant arcs. Yunshin instantly countered with basic counter technique, twisting aside and retaliating in a flash. Nico gasped inwardly. How can he be that fast? She retreated behind an old tree. Heart pounding, his speed far exceeded expectations. Arrows from Yunshin pierced the trunk, shaking the massive tree with sheer force. Nico's voice quivered. I give up. The crowd buzzed. Unreal. He beat Nico with a basic skill. She's a silver moon elf, famous across campus. Nico emerged, hair tousled in frustration, muttering, that infuriating guy, unbelievable. She looked at Yunshin, half mad, half impressed. I thought you were a rookie, but you're this strong now. He replied coolly, I've bought you lunch for 3 months, your turn. Nico smirked. Many line up to treat me, you're lucky I said yes. Just then, Instructor Keisha approached. Serious. Yunshin, Nico, follow me. Headmaster Yi wants you. Both responded. Yes, ma'am. On the way, Yunshin thought. Yanfuck, head of the War Academy and vice principal of the university, this must be big. In the training hall, the air was tense. Over 20 elite students had already gathered. A blonde whispered, since the freshman tournament, the top 20 haven't met, something's up. His friend nodded. Must be about the national freshman exchange. Hearing that, Yunshin asked softly, exchange competition? Nico crossed her arms, sighing. You really live under a rock? She explained. Instructor Keisha mentioned it's the biggest annual event, split into solo and team rounds. Results decide national rankings. The top 7 academies always come from it. Nico added, Jiangnan University's won 3 years straight, but this time there's a survival round, rules still unknown. Yunshin's eyes glinted. He murmured, I see. He quietly opened his system panel. New quest, join and win the national freshman exchange. Reward, strength skill, 50 attribute, 50 skill points. He smirked. Figures can't dodge fate. Just then, Yanfuck entered. Silence fell as students rose in respect, whispering, the headmaster's here. He surveyed them sternly. You likely know why you're here. This year's exchange is hosted by Kinjin University. As vice principal, I'll personally lead the team. Nico raised her hand. Sir, all 20 of us will compete. I thought the team round only needed 7. Ian Fuck nodded. This year adds a survival round, requires all 20 to participate. He explained, you'll be dropped into a vast zone to gather resources and slay monsters for points. Remember, other academies' students are just as deadly as beasts. Whisper spread. Another new round. Keeping the title this year will be tough. 3 years straight champions. If we lose, we're toast. Someone cheered, but with brother Yun, we're fine. Hell carry. Ian Fuck continued. Traditionally, the top freshman leads. This time, Yun Shen will be captain. Any objections? The hall erupted. Captain Yun, perfect choice. Time to crush the competition. He added, for the solo round, him selecting Yun Shen, Shintanian, and Nico. The 7-person team list will come later. As students dispersed, Ian Fuck murmured, Yun Shen's tricky lone wolf type, multiclass, hard to define his role. A melee-heavy team could be countered easily. Suddenly, Yun Shen raised his hand. Sir, may I pick my own teammates? I want the lineup best suited to my tactics. Ian Fuck smiled. All right, no one knows your strategy better than you. Moments later, Yun Shen handed his list to Ms. Lai, who passed it to the principal. Here's Yun Shen's chosen team, she said. The roster read Shintanian Blood Banner Warrior, Nico Elf Swordswoman, Yi Qingting Daoist, Lin Xiaoxu Dark Mage, Zun Kang Summoner, Go Feeching Shadowflow Assassin. With Yun Shen as captain, Ian Fuck tapped the table, frowning. What a chaotic mix. 3 melee, 1 mage, 1 summoner, 1 assassin, no healer, no proper ranged caster. Is this a war team or a brawl squad? He sighed. 3 years of victory came from a balanced 2-2-1-2-2 setup. Now it's all offense and melee. Against a strong mage team, you'll get steamrolled. As Lai suggested, reevaluating, unsure about Yun Shen's logic, but Ian Fuck shook his head, saying to let Vinny direct and observe first. Meanwhile, news of Yun Shen's unusual lineup rocked the training hall. Everyone was shocked at the break from the classic 2-2-1-2-2 formula. When questioned, Yun Shen replied coolly that he had his reasons, though instructors urged him to keep a stable formation. Then a rough voice cut in, doubting how they'd fight without a proper mage for firepower. The speaker turned out to be Tai Hon, the strongest explosive mage of the new class, powerful enough to fill that missing slot. But Lin Xiao immediately objected, pointing angrily at Tai Hon, reminding everyone had cheated before, dropping from rank 2 to 26. Suddenly others joined in, shouting that Tai Hon used family money for backdoor favors, demanding to know how much had paid. Yun Shen then spoke calmly but firmly, and what if I don't want him in the team? Unexpectedly, Yu laughed mockingly, snapping that no one needed a disgrace like him. The instructor sternly interjected that team selection was his authority. If Tai Hon was assigned, he would join. Outrage erupted. Students shouted about favoritism, saying a fallen cheater didn't deserve a place earned through sweat and blood. Tai Hon snapped back, acclaiming his slump was temporary and his true strength. Ranked top 10 challengers could fight him one-on-one if they doubted it. Instructor Chen noticed the gleaming metal staff in his hand, clearly diamond grade, causing a stir among the students. The coach then ordered 1 warrior removed to make space for Tai Hon, noting his double-grade talents and rare explosive image class. But Shen coldly replied that Tai Hon was rotten inside if he disagreed. They could duel win and do as he pleased, lose and get lost. Yu sneered, mocking the challenge against last year's champions. Yet agreed match set in 3 hours at the arena. Soon, word spread through campus. Everyone flocked to witness the fight between Yun Shen's team and last year's second-dayer champions. When the duel began, the stands roared, 2 cheering sides clashing. Go Brother Yun versus Crush the Freshman, Wei Yu. Students then noticed Wei Yu's team included Qian Juiteng, the summoner from last year's tourney, prompting boos for unfair play. Qian whispered nervously to Wei Yu he knew they'd be criticized, but Wei Yu just smirked, saying, rules don't ban it and a win's a win. Meanwhile, and clenched his teeth, remembering Tai Hon's brother's orders he had to win to earn the Tai family's favor and his future. Qingling anxiously asked Yun Shen if they needed a strategy. Zhang Kang agreed. Since the enemy had 2 past champions, Lu Shuxin spoke up, saying their opponents used the solid 2-2-1-2-2 formation, while Shen Tainian claimed he could break the front line awaiting Yun Shen's command. Unexpectedly, Yun Shen replied calmly, no need for plans, fight naturally, adapt as we go. Nugu burst out laughing, spirit blazing, saying their team was full of provincial elites, nothing to fear. Lin Xiao shouted, win or lose, we face it together. The referee raised his hand, declaring the match begun, while the observing teacher thought this was the perfect chance to prove Yun Shen's team's worth to the headmaster. Wei Yu quickly barked orders, forming a tight defense and healer cover, while Yun Shen's team charged like a storm. Fearless, Wei Yu smirked, sure the reckless rookies would lose formation. Breaking through his priest's defense was impossible, he thought. As they rushed, a Qingling yelled for them to slow down so she could cast Thunder Veil, boosting speed and defense. Wei Yu glanced over, pleased the Daoist seemed useless, and the attackers looked suicidal. He commanded, Tai Hon, full burst. Others, use minor spells to disrupt. Qian Juiteng, summon when they get close. Suddenly, Barrage of fireballs rained from above. Wei Yu froze, shouting, that chance speed impossible. The frontline fighters raised shields, but the relentless explosions shook their defense to the brink of collapse. Yunshen closed in, coldly telling Wei Yu, expanding your defense only weakens it, you won't hold. A green-haired girl from Wei Yu's team leapt forward, shouting, you'll never hurt him, eyes blazing with resolve. But before she could strike, vines from Yunshen's hand bound her tight. She realized the earlier fireballs were just a feint. Yunshen followed up, activating a basic marksman's skill and thrusting a piercing blow straight through the enemy's shield. The arena erupted as flames tore through the defense. Yunshen's assault left Wei Yu's team utterly stunned. He slammed his staff into the ground, unleashing fire orb magic, merging dual affinities and casting speed beyond limits. Fireballs rained down like a meteor storm, overwhelming Wei Yu's team before they could react. Hit directly, they screamed in disbelief. Their firepower couldn't even withstand a single attack. At once, Yunshen shifted to melee form, sword gleaming with fierce light. He unleashed Silver Rift Slash, his blade cleaving into Wei Yu's frontline. One warrior fell to his knees, cursing, never expecting to be crushed so easily. Gas rippled through the stands in 3 seconds. Had downed 4 opponents without a scratch, pure monster strength. Yunshen's teammates stared wide-eyed. Lin Xiao laughed awkwardly. Guess there's nothing left for us, Go Ficheng reminded. Still some wounded left, Shen Tanian shouted. Then let's clean up. The team chuckled. Chengling sighed that even as top 10, she felt like background scenery. Instantly, Yunshen activated Swift Step, the swordsman's core skill, dashing forward to finish the stragglers. Wei Yu panicked, ordering Quan Jiuitong summon beasts to guard the priest. Hold formation. In a flash, 2 platinum-level beast Serpent Fiend and Blaze Lion appeared before Yunshen. Their aura terrifying. Yunshen smirked coldly. Fighting beasts, that's my specialty. The crowd roared, admitting those were elite second-year summons, but pitting platinum beasts against freshmen was overkill. Wei Yu laughed arrogantly, boasting he had 3 summons, claiming one was enough to crush them. Laughing triumphantly, Quan Jiuitong paled, cursing him inwardly. He hadn't realized Yunshen's weapon carried sealing sigils, binding the beast from attacking. Yunshen stepped closer, voice calm but chilling, joking, I wonder if slaying these will drop rare loot or just extra exp. Quan Jiuitong collapsed, trembling, pleading, I yield, please, stop. He stammered, I hate pain, they're my precious partners. I'll forfeit my rewards, just spare them. Yunshen sighed, nodding, forget it, victory's enough, no point killing more. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the arena. Smoke billowed as Wei Yu staggered out, roaring threats, ready for one last strike. He cast Silver Moon Shadow, the ground shaking as shards of stone flew. The green-haired girl from his team drew her sword, shouting coldly, Captain, enough, you only disgrace yourself. Meanwhile, Lai reported to Yanfuck that Yunshen's whim came purely from overwhelming power, not tactics. He sighed, saying that against top academies, brute force wouldn't be enough. Yanfuck said slowly, the 2-2-1-2-2 formation's been used for 3 years. Other schools surely know its counters. Clinging to it now only weakens us. Yanfuck nodded slightly, admitting Yunshen's reasoning risky but sound. Better to let him try, no one wants to lose anyway. Later, Yunshen called his little sister, smiling at her bright laughter as she promised to get into a top-tier academy. She chattered about rumors that Dongyun City was underdeveloped. Yunshen just smiled. Being near family was all that mattered. A knock came, he told her, got a visitor, talk later, then invited the guests in. 2 girls from before entered, greeting politely. They were sent by the mistress to summon him for a special class. All others had been cancelled. Yunshen nodded in agreement, though puzzled why Lady Xia had called such an urgent session. The black-clad girls said they'd escort him, introducing herself as Xiao Yu. The white-clad one smiled. Xiaoling. Yunshen followed them, pondering that a demon's true name revealed its essence. Losing it meant complete submission. Xiao Yu took out a glowing violet crystal, saying briefly, teleport. Space warped instantly, shocking Yunshen. No chant, no gesture. He kept wondering how could they manage that. Suddenly, Clinching appeared beside him, calmly warning that this place wasn't as safe as it looked. His system flashed a single mission: survive until noon under the gray sky. Deathly aura swelling behind him. Turning, he felt countless eyes watching from the dark beast, stalking every breath. Clinching explained the dark erupted monsters craved his marrow. To evolve, he had to adapt or die. Their eyes glowed fiercely, heat radiating. One lunged like an arrow. Yunshen dodged, laughing tauntingly. Lady Xia just left and you're already hungry? Come on then. He leapt aside, narrowly avoiding snapping jaws, his body gliding like wind. Another beast struck from behind. Yunshen frowned, whispering divine flame, and countered instantly, landing smoothly. He activated his appraisal skill, realizing the creature's stats far outclassed his own. The display read Armored Demon, level 22, gold rank. Skills Shadow Veil, Phase Pierce, Infernal Claw, all corrupted by darkness. He calculated quickly, though higher level, it wasn't overwhelming, only its speed forced him to maintain Divine Flame mode. Then from the shadows crawled another slime-like abomination, creeping closer. Yunshen jumped back as Shadow Wraith beasts, level 21 gold grade, emerged, all pure dark damage, He frowned, realizing his long stay in the forest dulled his awareness now the swarm charged. Switching to his staff, he tried a Wideria spell, but his mana corroded, weakening the cast. Checking his phone failed technology and magic alike buckled under the dark energy. Pressing forward, he sighed in relief his inner mana still stable his level must have been high enough to resist. As long as he held a weapon, he could keep fighting. At exactly noon, Clinching appeared, saying that if he'd survived till now, he must have realized those beasts were born from dark energy seeping through the rifts. Her tone heavy, she added not just monsters, even tech and magic were crippled here. Frontline soldiers had endured this brutal environment for years. Xiaoqian then said they'd suffer even worse without Yunshen's Dark Knight Goddess talent. Normal people lose awareness, burn double mana, and collapse fast, so humans only dare defend, never attack. Yunshen rested his chin, realizing the crack wasn't just a spatial rift but an energy source suppressing all life, eroding anyone who entered. Qian then placed a hand on his shoulder, saying luckily the monsters couldn't cross easily, keeping the balance so far but not for long. She met his eyes sternly, urging him to grow stronger fast or had failed to protect himself when he asked about the forest. She calmly said it was fully poisoned and would be annihilated by the Archmage's forbidden spell. Yunshen silently watched the forest, thousands of creatures living normally, soon to vanish because of the dark rift. The thought chilled him. He murmured thanks, sensing he finally grasped part of the mystery had pondered for so long. Then he asked Qian how she and her servant could teleport instantly without a staff or incantation. She smiled, handed him a thin book, saying it was a passive mage skill, keep it as a reward if he wished to learn. Yunshen opened its staffless casting technique, Ranka, allowing spell use without a staff. The glowing words reignited his hope. The next day, Academy speakers blared. The GLE competition roster was out. Everyone buzzed seeing Jiangnan University led by Jobless assistant Yunshen. As the list spread, 30 years chattered, who's that Jobless assistant? Others grinned, strong or not, just win us glory. The group rushed to the plaza to see the lineup, cheering and chanting for their juniors. At the rally zone, Jiangnan University's team appeared in new uniforms, their unified aura wowing the crowd. Yuan Shexia praised the outfits, noting the nationwide broadcast justified the polish, while the Taoist girl fidgeted, anxious that Yunshen was still missing. A friend sighed that had been grinding dungeons nonstop for prep. Probably forgot the uniform entirely. The crowd whispered 19 members only. The captain missing some mocked. Did he chicken out? Just then, Yunshen descended gracefully, voice calm, sorry to keep everyone waiting. A student yelled, told you, Yunji never late. Others laughed, swearing Jiangnan would dominate the singles round. Kyuga crossed her arms, lightly scolding his tardiness. Yunshen grinned, saying he'd just cleared a dungeon and swung by the library, call it pre-exam practice. At the library, had learned Mage's grip, letting him control nearby objects combined with staffless casting. Its power multiplied. Deep and Fuck strode up laughing, saying Teacher Lee would lead the team herself this time, while he'd escort halfway, adding that this year's prize was insanely tempting. As everyone stood ready on the teleport array, Teacher Lee's firm voice rang out, rallying them to fight hard and bring honor to Jiangnan University. The students below roared, chanting, Go Yunji, crush them all, bring home all 3 first-place trophies. Qingyun, the economic heart of Huanglong Nation, gleamed under sunlight as Qingjin University hosted the grandest freshman exchange tournament. When Jiangnan's team arrived, Teacher Lee was surprised no one came to greet them. The strange atmosphere stirred murmurs. Suddenly, someone shouted, Look, a dragon, a real dragon. In the sky, the azure dragon coiled majestically, its blue scales dazzling. Everyone gasped, hearing Qingjin University truly had a guardian beast. People whispered that great factions bound sacred beasts to counter demon beasts. Without them, humanity would have perished long ago. Then a student pointed ahead, exclaiming, Hey, there's a signboard. The group approached and saw an inscription carved especially for the Jobless assistant. Leaving everyone stunned, Qingjin would prepare something just for Yunshen. A few Qingjin students passed by, laughing loudly, saying that Jobless assistant road was actually a dog-walking path. Mocking, that guy in uniform's the reject we turned down. A girl gasped, no way, he was the provincial champion. Why reject him? Yunshen calmly replied, Yes, they passed on me. At that moment, Principal Gao Zhongdongyun had arranged seats for 7 top schools. Only Qingjin's chair remained empty. Shocking all, Jiangnan students snapped back, saying Yunji was the top freshman and Qingyun would regret losing such talent. Qingjin students laughed loudly. A Jobless assistant leading? Jiangnan's done for first place is ours. Teacher Lee quickly intervened, warning that starting conflicts meant disqualification and harsh penalties. She added sternly, They're just petty students not worth your energy. Yunshen gave them a cold glance, then turned away, murmuring, answering them is a waste of breath. Let's go. Teacher Lee soothed the team, telling them to ignore the taunts. Tomorrow was the real battle, so maintain composure for the pre-match interview. Qinglin sighed, worrying local Qingjin media would play dirty. Another teammate agreed they were clearly targeting Yunji. Tan rubbed his chin calmly, saying, Let them talk, results speak. But what do they gain by picking on me? Teacher Lee smiled faintly, eyes sharp, explained it was all about pride. She was the one who personally recruited Yunshen to Jiangnan. She continued, saying recruitment required consensus, and Kinyan had unanimously rejected him, so his brilliance now was a slap straight to their faces. A student nodded, realizing Kinyan aimed to suppress Jiangnan to save face. Determined to win first place to prove themselves right, excitement flickered in Yun Shen's eyes. He smiled, thinking tomorrow's interview would be the perfect chance to show who was truly blind. The next morning, Jiangnan's team gathered in the interview hall. Solemn tension filled the air. Qing Lin beamed, eyes sparkling. "My first live TV interview," her friend whispered. "Remember your image, it's nationwide broadcast." She grinned at Yun Shen, asking, "You've got a little sister, right? But she's glued to the TV cheering for you." He sipped tea, smiling, not sure about cheering, but definitely watching. "She spammed me 10 messages last night." Suddenly, a reporter stepped up coldly. "Rumor says Qingjin University rejected you despite being Jiangnan's top scholar, and you're from a small town. Did you cheat to earn that title?" The question sent the hall buzzing. Another reporter joined in, claiming the source was local to Qingjin, so it must be true, mocking Jiangnan for letting such a person lead. A table slam echoed as furious eyes blazed. Jiangnan's team declared they'd answer no further questions. Worse, Cyan Rang trembled with anger, unable to believe someone dared insult contestants live on air. Yet the reporters bickered louder, pressing Yun Shen about supposed cheating, demanding a response. Hen snapped coldly, thumbs down, vowing that anyone facing her in the arena wouldn't leave alive. Soon after, the National Freshman Exchange Tournament officially opened, gathering 128 students. Music thundered as 10 teams entered, led by Qingjin University with Ning Jie, the young legend of Huanglong Nation. The stands exploded, fans screaming, "Ninja's up," recalling his record-breaking feats. But some wondered why a record-breaker was only ranked second. Someone even stronger existed. Just then, the speakers blared last year's top 10 teams marching in, tensions spiking. As Yun Shen appeared, the crowd jeered, mocking the useless assistant, daring Seminka to crush him instantly. Ironically, Yun Zhou burst out angrily, shouting only Yunji was worthy. Yun Shen simply smiled. "Let strength decide." Finally, the individual round began. Contestants randomized to avoid same-school or top-seed matchups. Suddenly, glowing stone platforms rose from the lake, marking the official start of battle. Yun Shen was teleported to stage 7, facing Sunwoo Nanzi, under rules limiting gear and basic items. Sunwoo sweated nervously, fearing the top seed but convincing himself the cheating rumor meant he had a chance. As the signal rang, Sunwoo was stunned for 10 seconds, no time to react. Instantly, the referee shouted the result: Yun Shen, total victory. The arena fell silent. The crowd gasped at the overwhelming power of a mere basic spell. The Nanzi team fumed. Their second strongest fighter just lost to a third-year jobless mage. The headmaster mused that Qingjin might have hidden their cards, placing the third seed early to crush others. Moral risky indeed. Right after, Lin Feng seethed, praying Yunju would face him next, convinced Yunju would deliver payback. Shockingly, on stage 7, Yun Shen felled his fourth opponent with a single blow. The referee announced another victory as the fifth challenger stepped up amid roaring astonishment. The whole arena buzzed. How could a jobless assistant sweep 4 straight matches? The tension peaked as the next opponent shouted a challenge, vowing to prove Yun Shen unworthy of Qingjin's name. He instantly activated his chain of skills: Beastblood Transformation, Warrior's Might, and Battle Frenzy Surge. Yun Shen's eyes turned icy as he chose to face his foe head-on, intent on crushing that arrogance with raw power. Even worse, the opponent unleashed a barrage of hybrid skills from multiple classes, morphing into a multi-element monstrosity. The stands gasped, voices trembling at such overwhelming strength. Praying the time limit would save Yi Kang, charged with a roar, while Yun Shen tightened his will. He wouldn't let him stack another skill. In a flash, Ice Spear and Battle Axe clashed midair, light exploding as the foe's scream died in his throat. But the man smirked darkly, vowing Qingjin University would regret this, recalling his sister's tears of rage. Suddenly, he summoned a level 1 Thorn Imp, voice low with vengeance, determined to drain Yun Shen dry. The Qingjin crowd buzzed uneasily. Why summon such a weak monster? Something felt off. At once, he ordered coldly, and the little imp darted forth, graceful yet deadly, ready to nurture the living XP bag. Qingjin's audience erupted in fury, calling the act of using an opponent as training fodder an outrageous insult. A whip of thorns lashed Yi Kang's body, soft as wind, yet chilling to the bone. Despair deepened, his eyes reddened, mouth sealed. Only guttural cries of pain and humiliation escaped. In the stands, many averted their gaze as the tiny flower fiend pierced his defenses again and again, evoking pity and dread. Time crawled. Yi Qiang's eyes dulled as the lash struck, rhythmically, his spirit seemingly gone. Then the Thorn Imp suddenly leveled up till proof Yi Kang had become the perfect XP bag. The referee finally stammered a warning. The timer was nearly up, but Yun Shen just shrugged, saying he'd end it quickly. As he spoke, his spell detonated, binding Yi Kang in energy before delivering a clean, decisive finish. With that, Yun Shen and Nico claimed 5 straight victories, while Shentanian ranked up after 4 wins and 1 loss. Yet none dared relax. The first round only trimmed to the top 64, and most opponents were still mid-tier. Yun Shen sternly reminded everyone to use the rest break to prepare for the next stage, reigniting team morale. Then the little Thorn Imp chirped proudly, bragging it was now too strong, making everyone laugh. But the stands erupted again, furious voices shouting that Ningji would never forgive Yun Shen. Suddenly someone yelled, "Something's happening on stage 18, Ba Hu Tong's torturing his opponent." Maniacal louder echoed. Ba Hu Tong screamed, "Die! Die!" Sending chills through the spectators. Blood splattered. The victim trembled, hoarse and pleading, "He's really gonna kill me, I don't want to die." Ba Hu Tong stomped on the opponent's head, cutting off the pitiful surrender. The referee rushed in, declaring his victory, but Ba Hu Tong still raged, vowing to slaughter every top 7 student. In the rest area, students whispered angrily. Some called him a monster. Others wondered why the dean tolerated him. It turned out Ba Hu Tong's mother was a dark dragon hybrid, gifting him 3 errant talents but a berserk nature. Even so, he proved terrifying strength, defeating 3 top 7 fighters, including 1 first seed. The referee announced Ba Hu Tong advanced to the top 32, ready to fight for a top 16 slot. In the next match, his opponent warned coldly that overusing hybrid bloodlines would turn him into a monster devoid of humanity. Ba Hu Tong sneered, mocking the so-called noble top 7 students. Then he grinned wickedly, taunting, "Got family watching? Good, because I'll crush your skull right in front of them." Enraged, the opponent charged, while Ba Hu Tong laughed arrogantly, boasting that such weak skills couldn't pierce his dragon-enhanced body. But the strike triggered a dragon-type suppression effect. His strength plummeted instantly. The ground quaked, dust billowed high, blanketing the entire arena in haze. When the smoke cleared, Ba Hu Tong was kneeling. Yun Shen gripped his head coldly, murmuring, "Enough, time to rest." He then delivered a brutal punch, a basic fighter skill that sent Ba Hu Tong flying, blood splattering across the stage. Yun Shen glanced down mockingly, voice chill, "Dark dragon hides are tough, good punching bags, though." Ba Hu Tong roared, unleashing a master-level warrior skill. Power surging wildly, their clash shattered the arena barrier, water spraying everywhere like a storm. The audience swallowed hard, horrified yet awed, feeling Yun Shen's ruthless, icy dominance. Yun Shen stomped on his foe, cracking the ground, each word sharp. "You wanted to crush my head? I'm right here." Ba Hu Tong bellowed, smoke rising from his breath, murderous aura freezing the air. Sensing danger, Yun Shen leapt back, eyes sharp on the mutating body before him. Dragon spikes and black wings erupted as Ba Hu Tong transformed, laughing madly in bloodthirsty ecstasy. The stands fell silent. Someone whispered, "His only level 21 but nearly awakened his full dark dragon blood. What a monster." A guttural roar burst from his throat, echoing through the Colosseum. A massive fireball spewed forth, exploding and carving a charred trench across the arena. Yun Shen arched a brow, dodging by inches, smirking, "Too slow, you'll never touch me like that." Ba Hu Tong roared again, daring him to strike once more. Yun Shen answered coldly with action. The spear pierced deep, stopping just millimeters from his heart, blood gushing freely. Yun Shen tilted his head, voice soft but chilling, "Any last words before you drop?" Ba Hu Tong trembled, kneeling, stammering, "Please, I surrender, don't kill me." Yun Shen withdrew the spear, sneering, "That's all you've got." The referee instantly declared his victory. Deep Cheng Lin exhaled shakily, saying she thought Yunji had actually killed him, while Nico sighed in relief. Had kept control. Principal Dipe and Fuck smiled approvingly, noting Yun Shen's emotional restraint and precise strikes. Teacher Lee asked softly, worried, whether they should invite Yun Shen's sister to cheer for him, to lift his spirits. Deep and Fuck nodded thoughtfully, surprised. He has a younger sister. Teacher Lee explained gently that Yun Shen's father died in the war. His mother from illness. Now only the siblings depend on each other. A story that tugged at the heart. Principal Diep pondered deeply. Within Huanglong Nation, the 7 top academies formed the backbone of national strategy. He knew that as long as Yun Shen didn't fall, he could reach Tier 4 one day, becoming a key force against the dark powers. Thus, he immediately ordered Jiangnan's affiliated high school to prepare a position, awaiting Yun Shen's decision upon return. A talent that rare had to be given an absolutely safe and stable environment to grow. Just then, the screen lit up. Other principals appeared, laughing and inviting Deep and Fuck to join a bet on the individual rounds. He chuckled, "Wait for me, Amin." Before leaving, he said, "The students are in your care, Teacher Lei," and she simply nodded, understood. After eliminating top contender Ba Hu Tong, Yun Shen proudly advanced to the top 16, yet his next opponent was Bu Chan, the No. 1 seed from Dongfu University, a true disciple of the Sword Saint. Yun Shen took a deep breath, shifting his barrier technique into a sword form, eyes cold as ice, vowing to finish quickly. In the conference room, principals eagerly placed bets. Deep and Fuck firmly wagered an errant skill book on Yun Shen's victory. The Qingjin principal sneered, sipping tea, mocking him for overconfidence, claiming that Jobless assistant couldn't possibly beat the dark dragon hair. Deep and Fuck smirked, asking, "Care to match that?" His rival laughed, replying, "Deal an errant artifact copy." The Dongfu representative shouted not to be outdone, throwing in a soul contract worth more than anything on the table. But before they could brag further, the referee announced Yun Shen had won, leaving the room frozen as Dongfu's rep dropped his wager. Bu Chen stood dumbstruck, muttering that even as the Sword Saint's heir had lost to a multiclass swordsman freak. Deep and Fuck swiftly pocketed the soul contract, laughing heartily, "Thanks for the gift," while his rival sat in stunned silence. The referee's voice rang out, calling both contestants back to rest for the upcoming quarterfinals. The arena's atmosphere thickened. Everyone could sense the storm of greater battles ahead. Teacher Lei reviewed the standings. Glad Yun Shen made top 8. Regretful Shen Tainian was out, warning that later rounds would be brutal. Her phone blinked with the new match list, her face stiffening at the unexpected result. She stared at the screen, breath quick, whispering, "No way, Yun Shen's next opponent is him." At that moment, the stands exploded as the quarterfinals began. Kinyan fans screamed hoarse, praying Ningji would reclaim their honor. The Ningjunji, Kinjan's #1 seed and famed summoner, entered the arena. Teacher Li grew worried, not for his class, but for his terrifying talent. Yun Shen's own Oni talent let him enhance skills beyond limits, turning basic moves into class-shattering techniques. But Ning Junji's infinite contract talent surpassed even that, allowing his summons to evolve 4 tiers higher, rivaling real boss monsters. He raised a hand, voice like ice, vowing to prove Kinyan was right to reject Yun Shen, for the Ning family's name allowed no defeat. Yun Shen replied calmly, gripping his barrier blade, "I don't care who you are, only that you'll leave this arena on shaking legs." Ning Junji roared, spirit power surging like a waterfall, making the entire stage tremble. 2 summoning arrays flared underfoot, forming a massive contract sigil that blanketed the arena. Light burst forth as the demon bestian Kui Hoa Earth Fiend emerged, radiating deathly aura. Not giving him time to complete the summon, Yun Shen charged like lightning, aiming to interrupt the casting. Ning Junji smirked, scoffing, "Close combat? Against me? Delusional." He growled low, activating his clan's secret art in Kui fusion form. The stands erupted. Fans screamed at the legendary Ning family technique, letting a summoner share every skill and instinct of his beast. Ning Junji's body twisted grotesquely. He sneered, "Your warrior tricks, pathetic in my eyes." Yun Shen stood unfazed, activating his magic boosting and divinity illumination talents, saying coolly, "Too bad the InQ's power still falls short." Holy light burst out, making Ning Junji roar as his monstrous wings spasmed violently. He hastily cast a barrier, summoning holy knight armor, forming a wall of light around himself. Suddenly, a giant tree erupted from the ground, knocking the weapon from Yun Shen's grip. Yun Shen spun, caught his barrier blade, and looked up. The alien tree with crimson blossoms was the Earth Fiend flower seed. Kinjan's crowd cheered, praising Ningji's clever ploy, using his body as bait so the flower fiend could seize the field. Yun Shen exhaled, eyes cold, murmuring, "A plant." Then "I'll just burn it all." He raised his staff, triggering speed and twin casting talents, chanting briefly to unleash fireball spell. Thousands of blazing spheres merged into a firestorm, sweeping over the writhing vines. Suddenly, a pitch-black beast lunged out, biting through sacred roots and blocking the flames. Ning Junji infused more mana, summoning Seahorse Walker, and Yun Shen couldn't help admiring his reaction speed. He lifted 2 glowing rings, twisted grin forming, "You've lost. Once the barrier breaks, your nightmare begins." Instantly, hordes of monsters poured out: fire butterflies, 3-headed serpents, white beastmen, water elementals. A chaotic nightmare. Ning Junji raised his hand proudly, "Let me gift you one last treasure for daring to act cocky before me." He summoned Scarlet Dragon, colossal fire dragon blazing red, its wings igniting the sky with crushing might. Behind it, the monsters swarmed like a legion from hell, flooding the arena. Yun Shen frowned slightly, summoning a pack of fire wolves in return, muttering, "What a troublesome opponent." Gripping his hammer, he stepped forward slowly, voice low, "If you want to go all out, fine. I'll join you." But Ning Junji sneered, commanding full assault, while red lightning crawled down Yun Shen's arm and into the hammer. Ning Junji's smirk widened, triumphant. "Haven't noticed yet. The Earth Fiend flower has already taken root in your body." He burst into manic laughter as the stands echoed mockingly, hailing Ningji's summoner powers beyond mortal reach. The Kinjin girls giggled cruelly, saying Ningji's flowers could grow on enemies, drain their life, and turn them into living fertilizer. Yun Shen should just surrender. Yun Shen chuckled coldly, indifferent, "That's all you've got, a few petty seeds." Then he drew his special weapon, the Stormbreaker Hammer, trophy of a demon lord, brimming with destructive force. Raising it high, he declared, "Before absolute power, everything crumbles." Instantly, his buff and blood boost skills flared, shaking the air like thunder. Ning Tuanji went mad, shouting that breaking the seed was useless and ordering all summoned beasts to attack. Yun Shen swung his hammer, chaining Berserker, Grapple, Mecha Fist, and Double Burst, blasting the arena apart. When the smoke cleared, Yun Shen stood bloodied and tattered but still upright amid the ruins. The crowd gasped. Someone yelled if he hadn't dodged a single hit was he insane. A spectator face-palmed, realizing it was the co-warrior's skill. More injuries meant higher stats. He was tanking on purpose. Combined with Stormbreaker, Yun Shen's power now exceeded human limits, reaching catastrophic might. Under the Crimson Dawn, his co-warrior skill fully awakened. Each percent of lost have tripled his strength. He slammed his hammer down, cracking the earth and creating a massive crater that shook the arena. His whole body erupted with energy, his breath turning into a scarlet vortex swirling around the battlefield. One slash tore across the ground, leaving a scorched trail dozens of meters long. The crowd gawked, someone stammering that the other 2 must be dead by now. Behind Ning Tuanji, Qi Long roared, forming walls of fire and ice that clashed violently. Ning Chuanji gritted his teeth, realizing most of his summoned beasts had been destroyed without his soul shield. He'd be dead. Just then, Yun Shen charged forward, sword tip gleaming an inch from Ning Chuanji's face. Instantly, Qi Long roared again, interposing its body to protect its master. Yun Shen swung his left arm, slashing hard, making the dragon shriek in agony. The tide turned. Yun Shen tightened his grip on the hammer. Eyes locked on the wary Qi Long. Suddenly, thorny roots of the demon earth flower burst from below, wrapping tightly around him. He was dragged into the ground, while Qi Long calmly stood by as if it had expected it. Ning Chuanji laughed maniacally, boasting of the immortal demon earth flower, and ordered Qi Long to burn him alive. The dragon spewed a crimson flame, roaring straight toward the bound Yun Shen. Yun Shen stayed calm, drawing a quick circle in the air and coldly activating a command. Instantly, water element magic flared, forming a shimmering barrier around him. A deafening explosion rocked the entire arena. Yun Shen grabbed the still living roots, smirking that they weren't dead yet. Then he said coldly, "Let me borrow your strength for a bit." He yanked hard, pulling the massive root cluster from the ground. Enraging Ning Chuanji, the roots whipped up, lashing Qi Long and tearing its flesh apart. Ning Chuanji clenched his teeth, thinking bitterly that this guy was tougher than expected. Dead summons couldn't be recalled. Still, he reassured himself that as long as he stalled, victory would be his. At that moment, from afar, Yun Shen raised his hand for the next strike. He hurled a spinning silver dagger straight at Ning Chuanji. Ning Chuanji laughed, believing his spirit form was untouchable. But as the blade brushed past, a chill ran down his spine. Looking at his chest, he saw a glowing talisman and realized something terrifying. He screamed as invisible flames from a basic spell engulfed him in agony. Yun Shen landed lightly, sneering that Ning Chuanji was now just human again. Ning Chuanji writhed in disbelief that a weak spell erased his entire soul form. Yanfu laughed in the stands, praising Yun Shen as a brilliant kid. He admired the genius move, turning a support talisman into the perfect anti-ghost strike. Then he smugly told King Yun that Jiang University would surely win the solo round. Ning Chuanji collapsed in despair, his soul erased by a mere loture spell. Yun Shen stood tall in the smoke, coldly saying that without a soul, he was nothing. Yet the man screamed, pointing back to summon Qi Long once more. But the dragon was now withered, forced back in its old summoning state. Suddenly, a crimson arm with sharp claws burst from Ning Chuanji's body, roaring ferociously. In a flash, he transformed into a half-dragon beast radiating deadly aura. He laughed madly, claiming he had fused with Qi Long through a family secret art. Vice Principal King Yun froze, thinking that even as a dragon, had still lose to the Dragon Slayer with the hammer. The crowd roared as the resonance between Ning Chuanji and Qi Long sent his aura soaring. He laughed manically, boasting of raging dragon blood while calling Yun Shen an insect. Then he charged, his red figure slicing through the air like thunder. Yun Shen tilted aside, hair whipping through the burning wind. He simply muttered coldly, "Idiot!" Then Yun Shen thrust his staff into the enemy's chest, unleashing a killing blow. With one strike, his foe's body was torn nearly in half. Black blood sprayed, staining the scorched ground crimson. Ning Chuanji coughing blood, trembling, muttering impossible. Yun Shen's cold gaze replied, "That's true dragon power." Raising his blood-stained staff, he said flatly, "I was born to slay dragons." As the referee declared his victory, the stands erupted. Spectators screamed, unable to believe Ning Chuanji lost so easily. King University's top seed had fallen in a single strike, leaving the crowd silently disappointed. Immediately, Lu Yingqi, the next challenger, flashed forward like lightning to face Yun Shen. He smirked, boasting that his tracker skill could locate Yun Shen anytime. He then unleashed a flurry of blows too fast for the naked eye. The fight turned fierce, both clashed, blood dripping from Yun Shen's hands. Lu Yingqi sneered that if that was all he had, Yun Shen would surely lose. But Yun Shen stayed calm, countering with his sword against the man's clones. He quietly channeled mana, activating the basic shadow shift technique to reverse the tide. When the illusions vanished, Lu Yingqi froze, realizing he'd been fighting a clone all along, and conceded. The referee announced Yun Shen's victory, sending him to Jiang University's internal finals. His final opponent was Nike, the female swordswoman known as the Silver Moon Blade. The audience mocked her on sight, calling her a lucky fluke unworthy of the finals. Blushing furiously, she shouted back, while Yun Shen calmly asked, "Fight or not?" Nikki smiled mischievously, admitting she couldn't win and chose to surrender. Yun Shen simply said, "Congrats, you're champion." His face as indifferent as ever, the referee declared Yun Shen the official individual champion representing Jiangnan. The arena fell into heavy silence, leaving the hosts speechless. Yun Shen smirked, saying cheers were pointless, defeating them was answer enough. Online headlines exploded, calling King University's loss the greatest shame ever and fueling interschool rivalry. Meanwhile, Yun Shen's team cheered wildly, planning a huge victory party that night. Yun Shen only smiled faintly, saying in a calm tone it wasn't time to relax yet. Yanfu happily handed him a gray cube box as special reward and praise. Yun Shen opened it to find a glowing orb, and Yanfu explained it was a rare soul pack. He added that Headmaster Sia once used one to bind 2 elf maids. However, under Xuanlong law, Using it on humans was forbidden. It worked only with extra-dimensional beasts. Yunshen observed silently, thoughtful, while Yanfu continued listing his rewards points. Money and rare gear. The teammates gasped, shouting guesses that it must be diamond tier quality. Yanfu smiled, saying the rewards would be delivered later. Then a stern girl entered with bad news. She reported that King University's mage Honu was gravely injured and replaced by a guardian knight. Yunshen's team protested, saying mid-tournament swaps were clearly full play. Yunshen just gave a cold grin, eyes flashing, murmuring, "Fine, it'll show them real tactics." Moments later, round 4 began. Jiang University faced Beishi Academy amid roaring stands. Yunshen led the charge, his speed surging, sword blazing like lightning. In the stands, Yanfu laughed, telling his old friends to watch their full victory. Other professors sipped tea calmly, amazed by Yunshen's skill, calling him the star of the arena. A silver-bearded elder praised that had never seen anyone solo break an enemy formation like that. He added that Yunshen's multiclass mastery made his tactics unpredictable far beyond the previous generation. Yet Vice Principal King Yun calmly countered that team battles needed coordination, not just one strong fighter. Yanfu stroked his beard, smiling at the monitor, whispering, "The strategy begins." On the field, Yunshen's cleaver squad stormed like a hurricane wind, cutting blades, spreading panic among foes. A witch-hatted mage screamed for the priest to heal the knight or their defense was doomed. But the priest trembled, pointing ahead in fear. It was too late. The shield was gone. Yunshen charged like a beast, staff glowing fiercely, his aura overwhelming the arena. The ground exploded under his strike. Dust rising as chaos filled the spectators' view. The match ended instantly. Jiangnan's total victory. Lan Lisha's team collapsed before reacting. Jiangnan's members joked they barely warmed up, 4 matches done too fast to show off. Yunshen tapped their heads, reminding softly they were the tactical reserve force, making everyone laugh. The short break ended as the top 84 quarterfinals began, the crowd erupting again. Outside, other teams whispered in despair. Defeating Jiang University now was unthinkable. Someone said the old 22-12 lineup might have had a chance, but this cleaver formation was terrifying. Across the field, the Qingzhou team confidently declared they crushed that reckless bunch even with pure magic. The stands roared for Qingzhou, famed for its perfectly synchronized mage teams. A Jiang University member laughed, mocking that abandoning the front line meant they'd lose fast. Then he drew twin daggers. Shu Keifi, Jiang University's main assassin. But when he used Shadow Shift, a steel hand suddenly grabbed his neck. It was Yun Shen. Shu Keifi froze, whispering, "Brother Yun." Yun Shen replied coldly that those 7 frail-looking mages weren't as simple as they seemed. On the big screen, the title flashed: Jiangnan University versus Qingzhou University, the fateful quarterfinal. Both teams entered the arena, eyes clashing in taut silence. Each cited their own schemes, waiting for the perfect strike. A masked teammate murmured that Yun was too cautious. They were just weak mages. Another added his blood shield could rip through their defenses. Someone scoffed that without tanks, mages couldn't face warriors. The whole team agreed eagerly, itching to fight. Yunshen glanced over, voice low. "Fine, you'll lead." Niki, Shen Tanian, Lin Xiaoxu, open the path. Gu Feiqing, support. Cover from behind. The match began. Yunshen's cleaver squad clashing fiercely with the pure mage team in a storm of melee and magic. A man in black raised his hand and shouted, "Begin!" And the air exploded with tension. Niki, Shen Tanian, and Lin Xiaoxu dashed forward like lightning, too fast for eyes to follow. A girl in the rear gasped while sticking talismans, grumbling that she hadn't even finished prep yet. Yunshen followed last, scanning the entire battlefield with sharp precision. In his mind, he analyzed rapidly. Underestimating the enemy was a mistake. Then activated his left A sensor to scan. He quickly identified enemy mages of single elements: fire, lightning, dark, ice, earth, wood, coordinating flawlessly. Yet the rearmost mage showed no clear element, obviously their heavily guarded trump card. One enemy mage laughed wildly, taunting, "You dare come close?" Taste our combined barrage. Instantly, countless spells: pillar burst, flame bomb, thunder flash, shadow rain merged into a storm of magic. The screen flickered nonstop, spectators squinting at the blinding light. Yunshen raised his staff, skipping long chance, casting directly with double-speed precision. A spinning fireball formed before him, compressing into a beam and blasting back. The blazing sphere shot forward, forcing Qingzhou mages to throw up shields in panic. Yunshen realized pure magic wouldn't hold against 4 simultaneous mages. He frowned. The gap was too close, energy waves too fast to dodge. Just then, Shintanian leaped forward, opening his blood shield to block the entire barrage. The rebound effect hurled the spells back like a rain of bombs upon Qingzhou. Niki shouted, "Nice one, Tanian, attack!" She and Lin Xiaoxu dashed in, moving faster than lightning. Their swords gathered elemental energy, slashing a silver arc across the enemy's front line. A hooded mage hastily chanted, summoning a rock wall barrier. The explosion roared, shockwaves scattering Qingzhou's entire formation. Another mage laughed triumphantly, boasting their team's perfect multi-element harmony impossible to break. But then, a blazing red light erupted amid the smoke. Shintanian activated Blood Shadow Rush, charging straight at the mage, startling him. Suddenly, Crimson claws stretched out behind another mage, glowing with eerie light. Magic tendrils burst up, binding Tanyan tightly and locking all movement. He roared in frustration, realizing the enemy's support and control coordination was too tight. Yet he smirked, saying, "Don't forget, I never fight alone." Right then, the masked member of the Cleaver team swung his hook and dove into the enemy's center. He yelled, "Take down the king, drop their leader, and it's over." Amid the smoke and chaos, the enemy lead mage stayed eerily calm, eyes cold and unreadable. But when his allies moved to help, Nikki suddenly shouted, "Careful, teleport trap beneath you." The Kingjo mages instantly turned back to back, forming a defensive ring, yet one screamed as he was sucked out of the field. Then Redan White spells burst like a tidal wave, engulfing the arena. One enemy mage raised his hand, flames covering him, sneering, "Told you you're just clowns." Amid the chaos, a rookie from Jiangnan cried out, "We're doomed," but a firm hand grabbed and pulled him back. Yun Shen stepped forward, aura overwhelming, making the rookie gasp, "Brother Yun." Before he could react, Yun Shen shoved him aside, sending him sprawling in shock. An earth-shattering explosion followed, light tearing across the battlefield. Both spectators and fighters froze, stunned by the terrifying sight. Then Yun Shen's calm voice echoed, "I'm not dumb enough to die, that was just a clone." The whole team exhaled in relief as he walked out unscathed. Realizing the enemy's trump card was a teleport mage, Nikki frowned, explaining that teleport mages were extremely rare, only appearing after switching to the spatial magic path, success chances near zero. She continued seriously, saying he must have set multiple teleport traps during the chaos while hiding in the back. Yun Shen replied lowly, "Got it, hold them off, don't let them interfere, the rest is mine." The team shouted in unison, charging forward to form an encircling assault. Nikki swung her sword, silver light flashing, strikes raining down like a storm. Behind her, enemy mage raised a green staff, summoning massive ice spears. They shot toward Nikki, tracing glowing arcs through the air. Explosions blasted, freezing mist blanketing the arena and wiping out visibility. On the other side, black-angled energy spiraled, shrieking through the air. Shen Tanyan and his allies panted heavily, groaning that they were being spun in circles with no chance to counter. Just then, Yun Shen burst forward, slicing the wind as teammates cheered. "Captain Yun's moving." An enemy mage sneered, "I know you, classless hybrid, your tricks can't scare real mages." He added arrogantly, "Anyone who steps into my zone gets teleported out, you can't touch me." Yun Shen's eyes turned cold as he aimed his weapon straight at the black-clad mage behind. A bullet of light flashed through the air, piercing his chest. Black blood sprayed. The mage collapsed unconscious as Yun Shen landed lightly amid smoke and fire. Spinning the smoking barrel, he scoffed, "For paper-blooded types like you, this still works best." In the stands, Kingja's headmaster shouted in shock. He hid a gun, pretended to use a spear. Too devious. Yun Shen looked up, eyes cold as steel, smirking, "Devious? You're no better. Now it's time to crush everything." He unleashed the Divine Gunner skill, drawing in a flash and activating rapid-fire mode, raining bullets on the enemy ranks. Each shot tore through the air with deadly force, striking airborne mages who screamed and crashed down. One Kingjo mage panicked, shouting that the bullets were too dense to dodge. What now? Amid the chaos, he suddenly froze as if sensing something terrifying. He turned sharply to see Go Feicheng right beside him, blade at his throat, sneering, "Got you." Losing focus is fatal. The mage screamed, ordering his team to cast triple barrier, believing it blocked the shots but was instantly overwhelmed. Nikki rushed forward, sword flashing, a silver arc slicing across the battlefield. Yun Shen stepped in, voice icy, still resisting. The mage trembled under the gunpoint and yelled, "I surrender." The referee announced the result: Jiangnan's victory and entry into the top 4. As cheers erupted across the arena, in the lounge, the team chattered excitedly, laughing about the final moves and teasing how close they were to blowing up without Yun Shen. Two backline mages sighed, complaining they didn't even get to show off. Winning that easily was boring. Yun Shen calmly sipped water, replying, "You didn't get field time next match, you're the main force." Both lit up, cheering. They'd clearly been waiting to hear that. Then the brutal semifinals began. Jiangnan versus the most monstrous, abnormal team in tournament history. The victory team, led by Liu Tanqing, all bore monster bloodlines. The captain alone carried the mighty black dragon blood. Bei Heshong whispered nervously that they'd be tough to face. Monster-blooded fighters were terrifying. She recalled that 17 years ago, when the game fused with reality, many who chose monster races stayed that way forever. A half-haired girl added that most hybrids could only marry NPCs of their race, living isolated and rarely accepted. Bei Heshong said gravely that Yun Shen's hybrid weapon countered dragons. She still shuddered, remembering being taken down by a man in the team. Growled through clenched teeth, "So what? We've got nothing left to fear." He shouted that they'd lived humiliated for years as cursed bloodlines. It was time to reclaim everything, even through bloodshed. At that moment, he gritted his teeth and vowed to embrace his monstrous form for revenge. Then he laughed like a beast, black wings unfurling, his aura crushing all escape. Yun Shen, calm as ever, said that even pitiful foes were wrong when their choices strayed off the path. The referee raised his arm and declared the semifinals officially begun. Instantly, Bei clenched her fists, ordering everyone to fight with everything, win or lose. But the enemy roared back in fury, vowing not to let their defense be breached. Lin Xiao charged in, landing a thunderous punch to the opponent's gut, blood spraying from his mouth. Meanwhile, Ji Qingling and Sun Kang stood still. Qingling softly said she finally understood what it felt like to be protected. Sun Kang laughed, replying that standing in the heart of battle felt nothing like watching from the stands. That's why Lin Xiaoxu shouted, scolding them for hesitating. Brother Yun trusted them as the main force. As he spoke, he roared, tossing out a spell seal to summon his battle artifact. His flaming staff blazed as the pact opened, calling forth 2 colossal spirit beasts from the ground. At the same time, Qingling chanted, golden aura igniting as thunder roared and demons trembled. Suddenly, golden light burst from her eyes, and echoing like an otherworldly song, from it formed a thunder beast, its might shaking heaven and earth. When it struck, lightning shattered 7 enemies, making their whole team scream in terror. In the stands, Headmaster Dongfu observed that the Taoist girl had both offense and defense but was limited by chant time. Beside him, Oldie nodded, praising Yunshen for compensating that weakness with defense. Letting teammates shine, Yanfu smiled lightly, adding that Yunshen chose this style to protect his team and give everyone their moment. Then Yunshen unleashed another volley of spell seals. Earth quaked, thunder roared, and summoned beasts charged together. The enemy team was wrecked, clothes torn and bodies battered. Unable to respond, suddenly, the ground beneath them exploded, swallowing all in thick smoke. Chunks of land shattered, dense mist blanketing the entire battlefield. When vision cleared, the foes lay scattered within a deep, ruined crater, yet their leader screamed in rage and bitterness, refusing to accept defeat. After the victory, Yunshen stepped forward, eyes steady, voice calm, saying he understood what they truly wanted to resist. He added gently that those deserving rebellion were the ones who despised them, not the innocent. Beihee froze, voice trembling as she realized Yunshen had seen them as human all along, then tearfully conceded defeat. The referee declared Jiangnan University the winner. The stands erupted in chatter, some in awe, others sighing that they felt too small before Yunshen's strength. The tournament continued, tension rising through each match toward the team grand finals. Now, the final battle was about to begin. Jiangnan University versus the host, the famed Qingjin University. Spectators whispered, puzzled why the host team changed members before the decisive match. A gray-haired man noted that their lineup leaned on defense, risky if countered, but Qing University must have a plan. At that moment, the referee shouted, announcing the day's most anticipated match had begun. Instantly, Qingjin's team deployed. Ting Chuan signaled them to form a defensive line. The team's mages raised their staves, gathering radiant light in midair. Then Ting Chuan cried out, activating their full summoning pact. Massive creatures emerged: Qi Long, Stone Demon, and more, their aura engulfing the arena. The crowd gasped at the perfect iron wall formation: 2 warriors, 1 cleric, and 2 summoners. But in the backline, Yunshen suddenly triggered a chain of buffs, surging his team's morale. Support skills erupted, magic shifting, holy light and sword aura intertwining. Then he gathered his inner energy, channeling everything for the ultimate strike. Thunder cracked above, lightning coiling around his spear tip, spirit force trembling. The spreading aura felt like a divine decree descending. Yunshen roared, if they wield the strongest shield, then we'll pierce it with the strongest spear. Instantly, the spear in his hand blazed, his power breaking all limits. On the stands, Principal King Yun gaped, asking Lao Yi why a melee fighter stayed back like he was scheming something. Lo Yi laughed it off, saying it was a mysterious tactic, though he himself had no clue what his student was doing. Then Principal Dong Fu suddenly recalled a skill that let melee fighters strike from afar. Perhaps that was it. Meanwhile, Yunshen gripped his spear tight, murmuring that the strongest must face the strongest, no retreat. He activated 2 support skills, his power surging to the limit. Seeing that, Xin Chuan froze, realizing a terrifying all-out strike was coming. In panic, Ning Chuan and his team raised rock wall and guardian light to form a solid barrier. Layers of glowing shields stacked like fortress walls protecting the team, but Yunshen poured all his spiritual power into his hand and hurled the spear like lightning. The strike thundered down, the spear piercing through the opponent's heavy defenses. In a blink, every shield shattered, dissolving like bubbles in the air. Ning Chuan sweated in horror, stammering in disbelief at what had just happened. Amid the smoke, Yunshen gripped his spear and smirked, saying who said he'd used all his strength. Then he tilted his head coldly. The second strike was just beginning. Xing Chuan went pale, his hat askew, eyes filled with dread. The crowd roared, some shouting in disbelief. Who throws their weapon then summons it back? Principal Dong Fu nodded, confirming it was indeed a throw skill, but with something unusual. He explained Yunshen's talent boosted the move by 3 levels, increasing range, power, and damage. Yunshen spun the spear, light flashing, preparing for the next strike. Xing Chuan panicked, yelling not to let him throw again, ordering the ranged mages to block him. The mage responded instantly, chanting stone smash wall to raise a rock barrier. Xing Chuan's teammates rushed forward, shouting they'd shield him to the end. But Yunshen seized the gap, hurling his gleaming spear once more. As the spear left his hand, Ning Chuan's face-drained teammates screamed and ran in terror. Despite their desperate retreat, all 7 were pierced by Yunshen's spear before they could react. Yunshen turned, voice cold as steel. ordering defenses broken, full charge. 6 teammates dashed in behind him, crushing the enemy ranks amid screams. A member of King University's team trembled, shouting to surrender they couldn't hold out, but Sing Chuan gritted his teeth, eyes blazing with regret for letting Yun Shen destroy their line. He tried to yield, but his voice broke into a terrified scream. "What are you doing? Stay away," he shouted. Backing off in panic, Yun Shen's team showed no mercy, beating and scolding, venting anger over King University's dirty tactics. King University fans left in rage, some cursing that their captain got publicly wrecked. The referee, seeing chaos, rushed to stop them before real injuries occurred. When the match ended, he sighed Ning Tuan, once a prodigy, now utterly crushed. In a corner, Yun Shen muttered softly that this was only the beginning. Nearby, Ning Chuan slumped with his head down, his team silent, unable to meet each other's eyes. A green-haired boy whispered if Ning was okay, maybe he got hit too hard then got his mouth covered fast. Just then, Vice Principal King Yun approached calmly, saying at least the team kept a top-7 spot, no need to mope. Sing Chuan clenched his fists, muttering that they kept their rank but lost their pride and had repaid this debt. Over at Jiang University, Yun Shen's team laughed loud, thrilled to have crushed their rival and ruined King University's name. After the meeting, Jianfu laughed heartily, announcing their team had secured the championship, so the survival round could be easy farming. This year's survival round would take place in the abandoned city once prosperous, now devoured by darkness and turned into dead land. Over time, mutant plants grew wildly, drawing countless beasts to occupy the ruins. Ironically, that made it a treasure-rich land perfect for this competition. Though cleansed and cleared of major beasts, the area remained dangerous. Resources belonged to whoever found them. Hearing this, Yun Shen's 8 freshmen cheered excitedly at the rare chance to hunt grade treasures. One curiously asked if soulbane grass was on the grade list. Another replied it was a rare potion ingredient that boosts one's talent awakening. Jianfu confirmed that investigations found at least 10 grade and 3 plus treasures, including the soulbane grass. The whole team clenched hands and resolved to win that herb for Yun Shen's little sister. The girl beside him looked up silently, eyes filled with trust. Next morning, Gola briefed the rules, stressing this round scored by resource value, not by kills. She reminded them other students were threats too, so don't focus only on collecting. Added no comm devices allowed, only signal flares, and crushing the wooden token would teleport them out. The 8 swore excitedly once they found the soulbane grass. They'd fire 3 flares to regroup. Gola blinked, asking how they knew that the team laughed awkwardly, admitting Yun told them over dinner. Yun Shen smiled gently, urging caution and unity above all. Moments later, teleport light flashed. Gola wished them luck before they vanished from the square. In an instant, scenery shifted. The 8 appeared amid the ruins of the abandoned city. A Jiang University girl scanned warily, hoping the arrivals were teammates or Yun Shen himself. Still, she felt confident Jiang University's students were strong enough to fear no one. But when she turned, her jaw dropped. Hundreds were surging toward her. Someone in the crowd shouted that soulbane grass and a 3-headed vine beast were ahead. Prepare to fight. The Jiang University girl panicked, realizing the mob wasn't from one school but a multi-team alliance. A green-haired man yelled, "You there? Don't even think of running. I can smell you already." She stepped forward calmly, staff raised, coldly declaring she was from Jiang University. Yun Shen was coming. "Leave if you want to live." The crowd burst out laughing, mocking her, saying even Yun Shen couldn't take on 100 fighters. A re-haired man smirked, saying they usually lost to Jiang University, but this time was different. They'd allied. He bragged that 3 major academies had joined forces, over 1,000 strong, enough to crush them by sheer numbers. He went on boasting that hundreds more were on their way, and even the full Jiang University squad would be mere target dummies. As he finished, the crowd behind roared like a storm, their momentum ready to devour the whole area. From afar, Yun Shen strode in, spear gleaming, coldly asking who just said they'd step on whom. The ruined forest erupted in cheers as his figure emerged through the smoke. The mob fell silent. Someone whispered, trembling, "Damn, it's really him. He's scarier in person than in any video." The green-haired man laughed nervously. "Don't panic, there are so many of us. Even our spit could drown him." But Yun Shen slammed his spear into the ground, shouting thunderously, "Many people, huh?" Then, he smirked coldly, tilting his chin. "Whoever wants to die first, step right up. I'm waiting." Then he activated his master-level warrior skill, his battle aura bursting and echoing through the air. The pressure wave was so intense that several in the crowd fainted outright. More and more dropped to their knees, screaming in fear, while the green-haired man yelled to hide his trembling heart. A girl forced her courage, pointing at Yun Shen, shouting, "Don't think a few master skills can scare us." Yun Shen walked forward slowly, eyes like blades, voice cold as frost. "What did you just say?" The green-haired man nearby trembled, turned, and ran, stammering, "Spare me, boss. I was wrong." The rest collapsed too, kneeling and begging frantically for mercy, pleading for him to overlook the scene. Yun Shen sneered, "So many of you, yet this cowardly, what a pathetic rabble." He turned to his teammate, smiling faintly, thanking the girl for keeping the soulbane grass safe, then spoke softly. In the observation room, Yanfu laughed in delight, amazed that Yun Shen subdued 100 without spilling blood. The principal beside him nodded, noting that other teams weren't so lucky. The huge alliances were far too unbalanced. Jiangnan agreed, saying this was the first survival round, so the rules were loose but would be fixed soon. Principal King Yun reassured them the protection system worked fine, only a few students got lost or eaten by beasts. A defensive barrier covered the entire abandoned city, ensuring not a single outer beast could enter. 2 hidden referees also watched over the area, guaranteeing safety, though survival always carried risk. Meanwhile, at the city's center, Yun Shen was clashing head-on with a colossal 3-headed vine beast. At the perfect moment, Yun Shen gathered power and slammed his spear onto the monster's head. The beast shrieked miserably, collapsing beside the soulbane grass patch. Body twitching before going still, his teammates rushed in, eyes wide in awe. While Yun Shen calmly said it was just a student trial, the beasts weren't too dangerous. He raised his hand in signal, deciding to move on to the next resource zone. A teammate fired a flare, a bright red streak cutting through the night sky. Elsewhere, Ning Chuan caught sight of the flare, his face darkening instantly. Someone beside him asked quickly if they'd still proceed with the ambush since that guy had acted. Could they still win? Ning Chuan clenched his jaw, suppressing fury, ordering them to forget it. Plenty of resources left. Avoid confrontation. A man in black froze, realizing someone was missing, mentioning Lai Tuan, who'd just been here moments ago. Another shrugged it off, saying whoever ignored orders was on their own, no time to waste looking. Meanwhile, in a dark corner, a lone man in a brown cloak walked, muttering with hatred and despair. He whispered, "Whether Ning Chuanji or Yun Shen, all will turn to ash when my master descends." Then he knelt before a mossy statue, screaming fanatically for the power of his dark master. Instantly, thick black mist burst forth, devouring him whole in seconds. The ancient array dark sacrifice gate activated, its tremors spreading through the ruins. His veins turned black, eyes glowing crimson like ghost fire. Horrifying surge of power erupted, shaking the entire building. Walls cracked apart. Roof tiles rained down like in an earthquake. Waves of black smoke poured out, blanketing the dungeon, twisting it into a hellish nightmare. Dark energy spread, infecting beasts, driving them insane and grotesquely mutated. At the observation post, countless alarms blared, red lights flashing wildly. Yanfu spun around, frowning. "What's happening?" The control engineer stammered. "Signals unstable, the barrier's malfunctioning." Another added nervously, "It's like before, the magic interference is spiking hard." Suddenly someone screamed, "Don't look at the screens. Look outside, something huge is happening." When all turned, Principal Lion Ixian froze, whispering, "Heavens, this is beyond control." Jianfu spoke gravely, confirming a dark rift had opened within the ruins. He noted the aura weakened humans while driving beasts into berserk fury. He immediately ordered rescue ships launched and sent urgent alerts for judges to protect the students. Inwardly, he feared this dark rift resembled the one that destroyed Maiden years ago, praying Yun Shen was safe. Meanwhile, inside an abandoned warehouse within the dungeon zone, tension filled the air. Huang Feng worried aloud why no teammates had appeared. Maybe random teleport split them apart. He frowned, sniffing something foul in the air, sensing something was terribly wrong. Yun Shen also frowned, realizing dark aura was spreading. Both he and Huang Feng had been marked. He gripped his sword and hurried toward the strange scent, puzzled why darkness lingered in a priest-cleansed area. A teammate's shout outside broke his train of thought. She and her friends ran up, panting and laughing, shouting they'd finally found him. But behind them, a massive swirl of black mist rose like a tornado. Everyone froze. Confused and terrified, Yun Shen roared, charging forward. "Run to me now. That's dark aura, don't let it touch you." The group fled in panic, trembling the first time seeing the cursed mist described in ancient texts. Someone screamed, "Why is a monster like this inside the competition zone?" The black mist surged, beasts howling as they surrounded the students, forcing them to fight and retreat at once. Ruxu cried in despair, "We must cut our way out now." Another girl shouted to attack only from range, never touch the poisonous fog. She prepared to unleash her vow serpent blade to carve a way through. But before she could act, a beast lunged like lightning. She screamed as her weapon corroded and her armor shattered apart. The dark mist spread fast, devouring her entire gear within seconds. Teammate quickly cast Vine Bind, pulling her out of danger. Another threw a cloak over her, shielding her from the toxic mist. The gesture moved Ruxu deeply, her eyes welling with tears. She choked out her thanks, voice trembling. Yun Shen stayed calm, confirming everyone was alive, but the threat wasn't over. The dark aura had already engulfed the entire area, blotting out the sky. He knew there was only one way to hold it back, even briefly. Yun Shen raised his staff and chanted the priest's Lodir spell Purification, casting a radiant dome over everyone, and the broadcast blared coldly. Ordering all students to evacuate the dungeon, Yun Shen shouted, "I can only hold it a bit longer." Everyone activated their tokens, teleport lights flashing rapidly across the field. All escaped safely except Nico, who sat frozen, panicking as her token failed. The broadcast repeated, demanding immediate evacuation of all students. By then, dark mist had swallowed Nico whole, her body trembling amid the black fog. Yun Shen yelled, "I've got away, go first." "That's an order from your captain?" Tears streamed down her face as she realized she'd only hold him back if she stayed. Shaking, she crushed her token, whispering for him to stay safe before vanishing in light. Yunshen stood alone among the ruins, surrounded by howling black energy devouring everything. Slow, hollow claps echoed behind him, each one heavy in the deathly silence. A man in a red cloak appeared, sneering, "Truly a noble captain sacrificing yourself for your team." Yunshen spun around coldly, recognizing him as the examiner from his individual trial. The red-cloaked man smirked, saying he was only here to protect promising students like him. He stepped closer, placing a hand on Yunshen's shoulder, murmuring, "Come, it'll take you somewhere safe." A spatial spell activated, violet light swirling around them both. In an instant, Yunshen vanished from the ruins. No one knew where he was taken. When the principal and other judges arrived, only traces of spatial magic remained. His disappearance left them stunned. Yunshen soon realized that if he had been warped too far, he was effectively lost. No one could track him. Suddenly, he and Tai were hurled into a dead zone thick with suffocating death aura. Seeing shattered skulls littering the ground, Yunshen found this place reeked of corruption. Anything but safe. Just then, the red-cloaked man behind him launched a surprise attack. Yunshen reacted instantly, sidestepping and preparing to counter. The man froze. How could his strike be sensed in such a corroded place? To his shock, Yunshen unleashed his darkborn talent, making the enemy's face twist in fear. Calmly, Yunshen said, "Darkness is my domain too. If you seek my death, be ready for yours." The red-cloaked man sneered, "So this is the power granted by the Dark Sovereign." Then he laughed harshly. "Even so, before a level 38 mage, you're still dust." He formed seals, summoning spatial edge rings, a deadly array of slashing magic. Yunshen narrowed his eyes, sensing the twisted space around him attacks unpredictable and unseen, so he instantly widened the gap, using Divine Flash to dodge just in time. The man was stunned. Such a move bordered on space magic itself. Surely divinity, but the man smirked, saying divine skills burned energy fast. Let's see how long Yunshen could last. With that, he slashed wildly, forcing Yunshen onto the defensive. Yun countered with a fireball, but the man laughed and brushed the flames aside. Smugly, he shouted, "See, that's the true power of demonkind." Yunshen was shocked. The strike even pierced warp space itself. He was flung away, body corroding, limbs trembling as consciousness faded. In despair, he screamed inwardly he couldn't fall here. Not yet. Seeing him still, the demon lunged, eager to claim his head for reward. But in that instant, Yun clenched his fist and drove a blazing punch into the man's gut. The demon spat blood, roaring, "Playing dead, you bastard!" Furious, he shrieked, "Fine, he'll tear you apart piece by piece." Instantly, Yun triggered self-recovery, coating himself in Dark Knight Shield, regenerating at a terrifying rate. His eyes gleamed defiantly, daring his foe with a challenging stare. The demon roared and unleashed a slash that ripped through space itself. Yun dodged nimbly, fighting while calculating a counter-strategy. He realized the foe's level was too high. Fire Fist alone couldn't finish it. He needed bait. So he timed his recovery, knowing one more spatial hit could kill him. He decided to strike first, put everything into one decisive blow. Yun cast Fireball and Falling Flame simultaneously, forming a closing assault. The enemy countered with a spatial explosion that tore open the ground. Yun retaliated with magic vines, but they were sliced apart instantly. The demon sneered, proud to have effortlessly broken the spell. But as he relaxed, Yun silently closed in, launching a deadly sneak attack. Yet the level 38 mage stayed calm, bending space to deflect it. Turns out Yun's attack was only a clone. The real body had vanished. Suddenly, he appeared behind the demon, hand poised for the killing blow. But the man twisted around with a cruel grin, laughter echoing coldly. "You think I didn't notice your trick?" he hissed. "Your aura reeks. I've sensed you all along." He swung his sword sideways. Yun froze. The strike came from a blind angle. How did he still detect it? The demon activated Spacebreaker slash. Roaring, "Die!" Yun spun space around himself, teleporting away from the impact. He gritted his teeth. Good thing he'd prepared, but how many weird tricks did this guy have? The demon cursed while retreating, shouting, "You leech, why won't you quit chasing me?" Yun pursued relentlessly, but the foe kept blinking through space, making him growl. Dodged again. Does he have eyes on his back? Thinking fast, he realized if he shifted his attack rhythm, he could force an opening, so each time the demon warped, Yun used Divine Flash to follow, both clashing fiercely through twisted space. Gradually, Yun tired, breathing hard, his divine energy nearing depletion. The demon laughed, "Impressive, but your divine skills expiring? What'll you fight me with now?" He sneered, "Want to know how I always find you? I'll tell you before you die." Yun replied coldly, "No need, I've figured it out. You marked me with demonic energy earlier, didn't you?" He frowned, "But strange, I checked this place, no one tailing me. How did you still track me down?" Then he remembered back when the man served as referee, had touched Yun Shen's hand. That must have been when the mark was placed. Coldly, Yun said, "Without that mark, you'd already be dead, but losing's your fate either way." The demon howled in rage, "Arrogant fool, knowing it won't save you." Yun gasped for breath, wishing for even one basic spatial spell left. Finally, he dropped to one knee, exhausted, had spent everything just to win this round. Still, the foe was formidable, strong enough to push him to his limit. Yun rose, staring into the distance, still unsure why the man brought him here. so he bent down to take the enemy's head first. Maybe there'd be something useful. Just then, the man's storage space exploded, loot raining down like a jackpot drop. Amid the spoils, Yun spotted a spatial rift skill scroll for beginner mages. He laughed excitedly. Exactly what I needed. Guess risking my neck paid off. Opening it, he read it could tear open space for 1 second short, but utterly destructive. Carefully, Yun stowed it away, planning to study later while checking for other valuables. He pulled out a gauntlet not his level yet, but worth plenty, and gathered the rare materials too. Suddenly, pitch-black feather rolled out so strange that even appraisal magic refused to scan it. Just then, a swirling gust approached, making Yun instantly alert. It was Instructor and Fu Landing, relieved to see Yun alive, saying the academy had a traitor and had come to assist. Seeing the corpse, and Fu gaped shocked that Yun had slain a level 38 spatial mage. Yun only smiled, saying the man slipped up, then held out the feather for Yi to inspect, and Fu studied it, voice grave. This is the emblem of the Advent Order. Now everything makes sense. Yun asked curiously, who exactly is the Advent Order? Principal Yi replied sternly, traitors to humanity, worshippers of darkness who await the day it engulfs our world. He explained the mole within the academy had sacrificed himself, opening a rift to the dark realm that unleashed the massacre. Yun stroked his chin, realizing that's why his foe resisted corruption and knew of the Dark Sovereign's essence. The principal warned that though the battle ended, Advent elites had surfaced too. They had to retreat immediately. Soon after Yun withdrew, the seal around the abandoned city lifted, reinforcements pouring in to purge the remnants. The tide turned swiftly. Beasts were wiped out within hours. The entire wasteland cleared clean. The organizers held an emergency meeting, merging personal and team scores for the final results. Jiangnan University ranked first by far, but none felt joy after such a bloody disaster. All academies suffered heavy losses, and the Advent Order's reveal made clear peace was ending. Qingyun University drowned in silence. No one dared speak. The tiny military department reported 328 dead and nearly 300 wounded, a devastating toll. Principal Qingyun slammed the table in fury, cursing the traitors. Thankfully the rift was small, or it'd be far worse. Principal Yi sighed, fearing the Advent remnants had hidden for 30 years and were now returning with darker ambitions than ever. Shen said had just fought a third-tier warrior and had to unleash a mage's spell. When cornered, everyone was stunned. How could a warrior use magic? A duel class? That's supposed to be a legend. Colonel He grew serious, revealing that duel-class soldiers are real, needing something like the Demon Lord's marrow. He continued, the war god's marrow is the heart of a fourth-tier war god, and each heart makes 5 pieces. It boosts stats, grants war god talents when leveling up, and can even absorb 4 elemental powers to form a duel class. Shen asked in awe if it's stronger than the Demon Lord's marrow. Principal Yi replied that of course the Dark World is 1 tier higher. Chini frowned, wondering if there are also mage god, battle god, or merchant god marrows and even triple or quadruple classes. He added, the dual class man might just be a pawn, sent to prove such beings exist. Once that truth spreads, humanity will tear itself apart before darkness even arrives. Chini sighed, saying the temptation's too strong, even he could barely resist, let alone young mages. Yi softly noted, it's such a rare artifact, even hearing about it makes your hands shake. He then revealed the Dagger of Flash, a rare grade weapon, 30 strength, 10 physique, and 100-meter teleport range. Yunshin blinked, asking what rare grade men had never heard of it. The principal explained it's a unique item, crafted from special materials, with uncopyable skills. He added, this dagger's made of blazing core or nearly unbreakable, sharp as peak diamond. Moreover, its trait blocks demonic energy. He hoped Yunshin would use it to shatter fate itself. Everyone gawked. The principal had kept that relic for 30 years, only to gift it to Yunshin. Then Enfu patted him, reminding him is not only captain but also top of the individual rankings. The academy granted him 10 million cash, 10,000 credits, and a grade heavenly treasure delivered immediately. Shin suddenly asked to transfer 1,000 credits to her reward, saying without her had never found the spirit herb. The girl shyly refused, saying joining him was enough, but Yunshin smiled. Take it, you've earned it. Just then, a voice called, Yunshin, attention. La waved with a smile. Beckoning him over, she said Principal Yi agreed to admit his sister to Jiangnan University's affiliated high school. Just say yes. She advised him to go home this weekend to Dongyun, bring his sister to Qiannan, the academy's safe zone. Then she grinned, adding the school's smith was impressed by his match and wanted to forge him a unique morphing weapon. Meet tomorrow. Yunshen's heart leapt with excitement. His dream of the perfect weapon was about to come true. He was sure it would skyrocket his strength to a new level. Stretching and relaxed, he returned to his cozy dorm, sighing it still felt best to be home. Sitting down, he sighed, still feeling traces of tension. He thought to himself, the descent is still lurking, only greater strength can face what's coming. By now, The flash dagger was fully mastered at night. It absorbed starlight for energy. Super handy. He opened his system panel, eyes on the main reward that had saved his life last time. Shin muttered, curious what the new skill would be. Then the system pinged mission complete. Strength skill and 50 attribute points. The new skill appeared grade rule type, making the next strike ignore evasion and conditions, dealing triple damage. Shin shouted in delight, eyes glowing. This was insane that Space Mage would drop in one hit now. Suddenly came a knock. He called, come in. Wondering who'd visit at this hour? The door opened. Xiaowu, servant of Xuan Cheng, smiled, saying her master was pleased and sent a gift. She revealed a glowing red item, the infernal seed of Netherflame. Taken from a Dark World beast, she explained that absorbing it enhances fire affinity, boosts fire skills, and grants fire immunity when fully merged. Then she warned it's too powerful raw. Must be mixed with ice herbs to neutralize. Weaker but safer. Yunshin nodded, smiling. As expected of teacher Xia's gift, please thank him for me. Xiaowu smiled. Of course. Yep. And I've got some great ideas for those ice herbs. But before she finished, Yunshin gulped the infernal seed down, making her scream, heavens, you swallowed it. Instantly, nether flames burst inside him. She panicked. Nope, you'll explode. Spit it out. Black smoke coiled from Yunshen's body as the room's temperature spiked. Xiaowu flailed helplessly, having no idea how to save him. Suddenly, Yunshen gritted his teeth, activating his divine regeneration to suppress the raging fire. Gradually, the flames subsided, his body finally still. He braced on his knees, panting, drenched in sweat that felt like being roasted alive. Then he chuckled, unbelievable, so that's it. Successful absorption. Just like that, he raised his hand. A black fireball flared the nether flame, and steer fire from the dark world that burns souls and nullifies fire damage. Shin played with the flame, thrilled it completely replaced his old fire, far stronger and shape-shifting at will. Xiao gawked, you really absorbed the nether flame without a scratch. She smiled in awe. Impressive. Yun, have a great evening, and left. Still amazed, the next morning, Yunshin arrived at Jiang University's Forge No. 2 as planned. Passing through the steel door, he was hit by waves of heat and metal scent. His guide introduced it as the workshop of Master Mujia Shu, famed for forging eerie weapons. A burly man strode over, laughing thunderously. Ha ha! Finally, we meet. Yunshen. He gripped Yunshen's hand and praised his unorthodox battle style, calling him the true master of such a weapon. The master grew serious, saying he'd prepared several heartfelt blueprints for Shen to pick the perfect weapon. Yunshen tested his demonic break, and the blade morphed smoothly between twin rings and a war scythe. He tried the staff and the battle spear next, but something still felt off in his fighting rhythm. Then his gaze locked onto a golden glowing gun, a 3-star gold grade item with dual combat modes. In sniper mode, it gave 35 armor penetration in melee form, 20 strength and 40 physique, level 19 required. For divine marksmen or martial adepts only. Mujia Shu blinked. You can handle a sniper rifle. Even divine marksmen are rare. Yunshen pondered. His demonic break was all melee, while his mage skills lacked range. Exactly what he needed. Mujia Shu took the gun down, introducing it as demonic soul piercer, his proud creation. Perfect in offense and defense. He explained the ancient Eastern form was for melee defense, covering the sniper rifle's biggest flaw. He continued, the polymorph structure allows seamless switching between forms, agile attacks, and instant counters. Yunshin nodded, requesting a shotgun for armor breaking and a rapid-fire pistol. Mujia Shu laughed approvingly while Mies Lai smiled. Suddenly, Li's phone rang non-stop, and her expression froze. She checked the message, face pale, voice trembling. It's bad, something huge happened. Turning to Yunshen, she said, a beast tide is attacking several cities. Dongyun, your hometown, included. Principal Yi is mobilizing forces. She dragged Yunshen to the teleport plaza, where Principal Yi was commanding. He barked, where are you two going? The principal's tone was stern. Teachers go to battle, students are forbidden. Return to campus now. Yunshen stood firm, eyes blazing. Sorry, sir, I can't obey. If I can't protect family, what's strength worth? Li stepped forward. Principal, Dongyun's home. His sister's there, let me escort him. I'll ensure his safety. He sighed heavily, voice low. Fine, I won't stop you. He looked at Yunshen gravely. Remember safety first, no reckless heroics. Yunshen nodded gratefully. Understood, sir. I'll return, and stepped into the portal. In Dongyun City, the defense force was struggling as beasts surged in from all sides. Upon arrival, Li shouted, Captain Fan Tuan, what's the situation? The level 35 soldier wiped his sweat. The beast tide's hammering the gates. Most of our troops are level 20-30, barely holding on. Li nodded grimly, turning to Yunshen, let's move, reinforce the eastern flank. But when she looked back, Yunshen had vanished. She cried out, don't act alone, it's dangerous, and dashed after him. On the front line, beast roars and clashing steel thundered as the ground shook violently. The soldiers roared, kill them. Even if we die, they won't breach the city. The people depend on us. But the relentless assaults cut them down in droves, blood soaking the battlefield. One man gritted his teeth. Peace made us soft. With this strength, how can we hold the gate? the walls of Dongyun trembled, on the verge of total collapse. Suddenly, a fairy vortex blazed in the distance, merging with exploding fireballs that shredded the beast horde. Elemental storms raged, devouring monsters as their roars thundered across the sky. Thinking a powerful mage had arrived, the soldiers froze. Why was he using a martial wind eye? Were there multiple allies? Just then, a figure landed from above, the impact shaking the entire square. Tan calmly observed, noting the beasts were temporarily halted at the battlefield's edge. He narrowed his eyes at a massive lion beast, sensing the night atop it was no ordinary foe. Yun Shen leapt down, introduced himself and his support mission, silently grateful his pack let him summon skills in time. The troops cheered in disbelief. It was top scholar Yun Shen himself, the legend made real. He smiled awkwardly, asked for updates, and learned the breach came from the descent monsters slipped in, but forces inside still held. Frowning, he reasoned that if the enemy avoided a frontal assault, another plot was unfolding. Dongyun must not fall. At that moment, his comm buzzed with a broken farewell. On the other end, Yun Dong said their teacher had led them to a safe room after a monster alert. Tan sighed in relief that she was safe, yet uneasy nod at him. Yun Dong continued shakily, saying some strange people outside didn't look like teachers at all. Tan panicked, shouting for her to lock the door and not open it. He was coming. Meanwhile, at Dongyun No 3 High School where Yun Dong hid, figures in black emerged. Heavy footsteps echoed with a chilling voice filling the halls. One sneered, mocking the so-called safe room as a weak earthquake shelter. Useless in real combat, the largest man barked, reminding them their true target was Yun Shen of Jiangnan University. Then he smirked wickedly, adding that his sister was here an easy catch. The black-clad group laughed darkly, dreaming of seizing the war god's marrow once they had the girl. Their leader growled, ordering them to smash the hideout and stop wasting time. With a swing, his blade aura sliced the steel door apart in a thunderous blast. Inside, terrified students screamed and begged for mercy. The black-robed man stepped in grinning, declaring he'd found the war god's marrow. The scene froze on a trembling girl in a pink shirt, cowering behind a desk. The darkest of them stepped forward, hand raised to strike. Suddenly, a teacher lunged out, shouting not to touch her students, but a single flame strike slammed her into the wall, leaving her collapsed. The enemy sneered, mocking her as a low-tier assassin unworthy of his full power. His comrades urged, "Stop wasting time, grab the girl and go." Another laughed madly, taunting the crying child. He stepped closer, voice oily and cruel, coaxing her to follow obediently to avoid pain. The girl trembled, crawling back in tears, crying out her brother's name in despair. Just then, a glowing spear tore through the air. It pierced the black-robed man, who exploded into ash before his horrified comrades. The rest gasped. "Yun Shen's here," one quickly warned, remembering intel that the spear was his deadliest long-range strike. The man steadied himself, assuming Yun Shen would recall his weapon. He just had to stay alert. Then he sneered, thinking Yun Shen wouldn't dare show up anyway. Another's eyes gleamed, recognizing it as a rare star-catching artifact. He reached out greedily, grinning in arrogance. But the moment he touched it, a violent force blasted him backward. Yun Shen's cold voice echoed, warning them not to touch his weapon. The man roared in fury, shouting that he wouldn't be looked down on. Yun Shen clenched his fist, unleashed a basic melee strike, and instantly reduced him to ash. As the dust settled, another icy voice called from the doorway, seeking death. "Are we?" Yun Shen reacted instantly, hurling a dagger toward the sound. The black-robed man scoffed, confident he could block it easily. He raised his sword to parry, but the blade shimmered and shifted, piercing straight through his chest in an instant. The third body fell without a sound. Yun Shen knelt beside his sister, gently patting her head, while she trembled and pointed to the door, warning one was still alive. The last man bolted in terror, babbling that anyone who 3 in seconds was a monster, not human. His organization immediately updated its records, upgrading Yun Shen's threat level. Yun Dong fretted, fearing he'd escape, but Yun Shen said calmly, "He's not getting away." He summoned his morphing weapon. The demonic sniper rifle gleamed in his hands. He pulled the trigger. The bullet streaked out like light. The fleeing man turned just in time to see it pierce his chest. He fell, eyes wide in disbelief. As calm returned, Yun Shen exhaled with a faint smile. Mission complete, though his hand bled from recoil. The students around gawked, eyes shining. One girl squealed that he was both handsome and strong. Yun Dong pouted, clinging tightly, declaring she alone would stay by her brother forever. As Lai rushed in, ready to scold Yun Shen for acting alone, but seeing the aftermath, she froze. It already wiped them all out. She silently surveyed the ruined scene, secretly admitting the students' strikes were swift and terrifyingly precise. Yun Shen calmly explained had arrived just in time. The attackers were from the descent, targeting him and dragging his sister in by chance. As Lai sighed, warning that the demon lord's marrow made him a prize target. They'd surely come again. Back at Jiangnan University, she reported to the vice principal with a heavy heart. She concluded the descent was sacrificing its own to open rifts, and that giving Yun Shen the demon lord's marrow might be both blessing and curse. Fuan stroked his beard and thought, saying the marrow was only a spark. The true war was with the dark world, and eliminating enemy prodigies was key. He emphasized Yun Shen was the national champion, the undisputed top genius of Long Nation's new generation. Gazing out the window, he murmured that even without the marrow, the descent would have noticed him soon. It just came earlier, and added that schools had now formed demon hunting squads for counter-training. He asked about Jiangnan's progress. Lai firmly replied the first team was chosen third years and a few exceptional second years. Now in live combat training, Fuan nodded, adding that Yun Shen's sister would enroll in Jiangnan's affiliated school within 2 days so he wouldn't act recklessly. The scene shifted to the dorm, where Yun Duong eagerly explored. Wide-eyed with wonder at her brother's place, she hugged the cactus doll tightly, squealing in awe that her brother could summon something so cute. Yun Shen smiled from his chair, gently warning her not to play too rough or she'd get pricked. As she giggled, he mused that all her transfer papers had relied on his privilege. If she could enter Jiangnan University on her own, it'd be far better. He glanced over, softly asking if her talent awakening was soon. She nodded sadly, saying the beast tide had interrupted it. He pulled out a vial of blue liquid, handing it to her and telling her to awaken right now. Yun Duong's eyes widened. She protested it was priceless, something even the rich struggled to buy. Maybe they should sell it. He laughed helplessly, saying he had worked hard to earn it, so no way she should drink it. Her potential once surpassed his, and with this she had awakened strong. The girl nodded obediently and tilted her head back, finishing the potion. She exclaimed in surprise it tasted better than expected, sweet and cool. Yun Shen smiled, asking how she felt, thinking first awakenings always showed signs, even minor ones. She answered quickly, just feeling strange but not sure how, insisting she drank it all. Suddenly, the space around them trembled slightly. He realized it was a time-based affinity and rushed to contact the military. He immediately triggered teleportation, vanishing in a soft blue glow. Left behind, Yun Duong blinked, asking if it was really that serious. Yun Shen placed a hand on her shoulder, gently warning never to tell anyone if news leaked. The descent would strike without mercy. Ever since their attack, had learned waiting to die wasn't an option to live. He had to grow stronger and strike first. The next day, Yun Shen headed straight to Jiangnan University's dungeon sector. Requesting personal access, the system quickly listed solo accessible nightmare dungeons, level 20-30 range. Meanwhile, rumors of the descent spread through campus. Tension thick in the air. A group of students complained that the descent's chaos kept causing casualties. They feared even 30 years would soon be drafted. As Yun Shen crossed the courtyard, he overheard students saying they'd rather train in dungeons to at least stay alive. 2 went to register but were told all level 21-30 dungeons had been completely taken over by one student constantly breaking records. Both froze, staring at each other. Who was strong enough to dominate every dungeon like that? Then the system blared, flashing new record updates one after another. Dwarven Land's record updated new holder classless Yun Shen. The crowd erupted. Someone shouted, "Look, he's not stopping, he's going for more." Sure enough, Yun Shen strode coldly to the next sector, declaring entry into another dungeon. Onlookers shuddered, whispering he was insane. Only a classless freak would dare non-stop nightmare runs. This time it was a level 25-27 dungeon nightmare difficulty. Inside were coffins, graves, and a chilling cold seeping from the ground. Alone, Yun Shen advanced as the system announced the Lord of Death has awakened. Hordes of corpses rose, flooding the earth and surrounding him. He stayed calm, studying the formation to find their weakness. With quick analysis, he confirmed they were vulnerable to fire and light. The only chance he had, he chose to unleash the nether flame, the black fire capable of burning even souls. Gathering energy in his palm, he shouted and unleashed it all at once. 2 green fire dragons roared to life, spiraling toward the undead horde. In seconds, tens of thousands of corpses were burned to ash, dust swirling through the crypt. After clearing the field, he rested only a moment before stepping into the next dungeon. Announcements echoed: Graveyard, Frost Heaven, and Flame Forest, each record shattered by Yun Shen. Outside, watching students gaped. Someone gasped that he couldn't possibly plan to clear every dungeon in the school. A girl in the crowd whispered nervously, wondering if he was preparing for something even greater. Supervisor Zong sighed, thinking this kid was shaking the whole academy again. The next morning, Yun Shen brought a formal request to Vice Principal Yi, solemnly declaring he wanted to join the demon hunting squad. Yi frowned in shock, blurting, "What? The demon hunting squad? Are you insane?" He stressed only third years qualified, second years must be elites, and Yun Shen was too risky. Even if he agreed, Dean Xia would never approve. Yun Shen smiled awkwardly, saying Teacher Xia had already consented. Yi froze. What? Reading the referral letter, he saw it stated clearly if denied, Dean Xia would come in person. He sighed, finally nodding, assigning him to Kathy's squad, thinking master and student were equally stubborn. Yun Shen grinned, assuring him not to worry, he could verify his stats for peace of mind. Yi nodded, saying gravely, "All right, let's see." Activating appraisal, he read Yun Shen. Human, level 26, main weapon Demonic Breaker 8, Subdemonic Soul Piercer 3, all stats over 280. Talents from Atis, leaving him stunned, speechless. You realized that lineup could crush most students, even specialized hidden classes. Finally, he nodded, saying, "If you're confident, go." Yunshen bowed in thanks and left swiftly. His assistant whispered nervously that letting him fight was reckless. The dissent still hunted him. You replied quietly that Fxiek Xuan Qing placed him in Kathy's team. There must be a plan. When the news reached Zen Chang'an base, home of Kathy's unit, the squad buzzed at hearing the new member was only a freshman. One grumbled it was absurd to force in a rookie, another defended him as the national champion. But the blue-clad man scoffed, calling it empty fame. They muttered that demon hunting squads targeted dark cultists and earned huge credits. He was probably just a rich kid farming points. Kathy listened silently, thinking Long Nation was truly descending into chaos and wondering what Dean Xiao was planning. She recalled rumors about Yunshen and Dongyun, hoping he'd stay calm and avoid trouble. Just then, Yunshen appeared at the camp gate, his bright smile freezing the whole team. He stepped forward politely. Instructor Kathy, reporting in. Kathy nodded and led him to the briefing zone, announcing the final member of Squad 7, Yunshen. One soldier sneered, "Here comes the point grinder," but his comrade tugged his sleeve, mourning out across a big family's hair. Moments later, the system chimed, "New mission joined demon hunting operation. Squad 7, objective rank 1 contribution, rewards boundary break stone, crossover birth herb, penalty failure." After reading the mission, Yunshen thought the reward wasn't rare, but the boundary break stone was handy. He could upgrade a gift for Yundang. Kathy signaled everyone to gather, sternly declaring their first operation purge the dark followers of the Advent cult. She added that these freaks were stirring chaos across towns and even slaughtering children, utter monsters. Kathy pointed at the map, saying scouts reported a group occupying a warehouse near Lake Port, likely fugitives from another region. This time, the mission was simple: wipe them out completely. After hours of travel, Team 7 arrived at the target warehouse. Yunshin silently observed, sensing chaotic auras swirling around the building. One member closed his eyes, reporting 28 dark presences, mostly second transmission, but one was much stronger, maybe third. The team buds. Someone scoffed that second transmission meant nothing. Students from Jiang University fought like war gods. Kathy smirked, telling them to go ahead if they were that confident, secretly treating it as their first field exam. The students cheered, joking that each kill earned credits, turning the mission into a game. One instantly swung his blade, slicing off the roof to kick off a blitz attack. The dark cultists inside panicked, scrambling to draw weapons. Team 7 unleashed spells and flames, lighting the warehouse in chaos. One cultist ran deeper, yelling, "Priest, we're under attack, unknown number." The leader frowned and growled, "Only 10, mostly second transmission, kill them all." The cultist emerged grinning, mocking that it was just a bunch of rookie students, not an army. Kathy's team charged in, but before gaining ground, the enemy struck back fiercely. A student was blown away, paralyzed on the ground, frozen solid. He struggled, but the foe healed instantly. Terrifying power. Kathy was shocked to see it was an elemental mage, one who had betrayed humanity. The enemy laughed madly, shouting that compared to the Almighty, humans were insects to crush. Team 7 flailed helplessly, frozen and sealed, weapons useless. At that desperate moment, crimson light shot in from afar. A blazing bullet pierced the mage, incinerating him instantly. The remaining cultists screamed in horror, baffled by the pinpoint shot from such distance. Team 7 gaped. Who fired that? Every shot was lethal. Could it be that powerless freshman? The leader hissed, "Charge! Kill the sniper, get close," and has done. The cultists roared and rushed toward Yunshen through the blazing smoke. One furious foe screamed, "Coward! Sneak attack! It'll cut you to pieces." Kathy shouted, "Not good there after Yunshen. Support him. He's just a freshman." Yet Yunshen stayed calm, holstered his gun, drew a glowing crimson animation blade, and said coldly, "Close combat, fine by me." He crouched, yelling, "Come on then, let's dance." His blade swung, fire slicing through the dark. In an instant, flame and blood fused into chaos. Seconds later, 3 or 4 black-robed foes lay dead at his feet. Team 7 froze in disbelief. Yunshen had solid the whole dark cult squad. Someone stammered, "Has literally carrying all 9 of us." The dark leader frowned, watching Netherflame rise around Yunshen, his face twisting. He hissed, "That fire exists only in the dark realm. How does that kid wield it?" Then realization struck. He shouted, "Yunshen, the jobless freak who absorbed Demon Lord's marrow, wanted with a bounty." The warehouse erupted in cheers. The cultists didn't care about the mission anymore. Yunshen's head was the prize. He barked for his men to reposition. The bounty outweighed any victory. But as he lunged, Kathy's fiery chains shot out, binding his legs. She stepped forward, eyes firm. "Triple transmission officer of the Advent cult. Right, your opponent is me." The man paled, muttering. Doom ran into a real monster. While Kathy held the leader off, Yunshen wiped out most of the remaining black-robed cultists. Team 7 looked around, stunned. 70% of enemies gone, all second transmission professionals. One gulped, whispering only a triple could match him. Another chuckled bitterly, saying triple-level foes were Kathy's problem, not theirs. Yunshen sheathed his sword, saying calmly, "Let's go. The real rally points ahead." On the table, a city map glowed, terrain analyzed in detail. The Advent cultists gathered around it, plotting to kidnap elementary students to spread terror. One paused mid-sentence. "Wait, what's that sound?" The man beside him turned pale. Behind you wasn't someone there. Before he could react, a blade flashed, slicing through the air. Blood sprayed, the map turning red in an instant. The speaker collapsed wordless as the meeting room shattered apart. Team 7 stormed and Kathy yelled, "Yunji, we're here to back you up. You were too fast. Let us earn some credit too." They fought in sync, clearing the stragglers within minutes. When the smoke settled, only Yunshen stood amid ruins, corpses all around. He wiped blood from his cheek and said calmly, "Done. Move out, the next target awaits." Team 7 cheered, "Follow Yunji victory feast every day." The group crowded him, some offered water. Others shade joking, "Have a Coke." "Yunji, our hero." Kathy sighed at the sight this training mission had turned into Yun Shen's one-man show. Reporting later, Li Yuling stood beside the commander and said coldly, "I refuse to act with you." He snapped, "What do you mean? Don't slander us for colluding with dark cultists." Li Yuling replied calmly, "Before regrouping, I used my sensing skill, found suspicious traces inside your manor." At this moment, the manor was heavily guarded, most dark followers inside, mostly second transmission level. Worse, the support point was fortified by 15 guards, one being a half-step triple an imminent threat in open combat. So she proposed 2 masters attack frontally to draw them out while she struck the rear support to break their formation. Team 7 gave her a thumbs-up. Working solo yet planning flawlessly earned their respect. With no objections, Yuling decisively ordered the March Shed handle the support point herself. Team 7 watched her back fade into the mist, awed and silent. No one dared speak. Meanwhile, the rest obeyed the battalion commander's orders. Once positions were set, Ting surveyed the terrain, perfect for long-range magic strikes yet safely distant. But just as she prepared to act, unease hit her. This spot was too perfect to be real. Suddenly, a massive wave of dark energy exploded behind them, engulfing the area. Shocked, Ting froze. The malice level was far beyond anything natural. Then the commander's body twisted, grinning wickedly as he confessed the entire thing was his trap. At once, the dark cultists raised weapons, crushing pressure bearing down on everyone. The weight forced the team to their knees, gear corroding. Even Kathy struggled to stand. Turns out, that commander wasn't human at all but a Mazui from the Dark Realm. The pressure spiked, leaving the team staggering, barely upright. They tried calling for backup, but their comms melted. Despair filled their eyes. Still, Tomei noticed the enemy. Though a triple transmission was using Tainaki, must be hiding tricks. Realizing the truth, the squad roared in fury, unable to believe the commander's betrayal. Yet he only sneered, boasting he'd abandoned human blood for dark grace, claiming to be superior. As he finished, the team was locked in place, unable to move an inch. But he suddenly froze. One person was still moving. It was the white-haired boy, walking calmly forward, eyes cold as steel fixed on the Manhua. Then he crouched to strike, weapon gleaming, declaring confidently he could do far more. At peak tension, he activated his sniper skill. A bullet pierced through the air straight at the target. The Manhua twisted aside easily, body light as smoke. Smirking, he bragged about his Dark Knight matriarch talent, calling this encounter his lucky day. He growled that the boy would soon learn how foolish it was to challenge a triple-level Manhua. Unshaken, Yunshen countered with a blazing fire orb spell, summoning a massive blue inferno. As energy built, he said coolly, "Let's see how long you last in my rhythm." Instantly, red flames and dark smoke fused, the air quaking violently. Finally, he unleashed Void's Lash, a blade of light ripping through the darkness. The enemy scoffed, mocking that Yunshen's tricks were child's play, had long seen through that clone. He then struck back with full force, the shockwave slamming into Yunshen's mind like thunder. But suddenly emptiness, an illusion. He gasped,